All right. Dun, dun. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning. All right. Hello, hello, everybody. Good morning, good morning. Hello, hello. Okay, we've got Elvin as our morning stream music. You can check them out on Spotify and YouTube. I'll link them. All right. How's everyone doing? How was your weekend? Dun, 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 dun. All right. I feel like so much happened over the weekend, and I was not here, but I am here now. All right, I'm going to pause Elvin's gorgeous music. Let's open up with a little shout out to the protests that happened in the U.S. Let's check it out. Hands off protests.
No justice! No peace!
It's billed as the hands-off protest, a multi-city expression of popular dissent in places ranging from Boston to New York.
This is Al Jazeera.
To the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., which witnessed the largest protests since Donald Trump began his second term as president.
They think they're going to overthrow the heroes of American democracy. They don't know who they're dealing with.
So are you ready to fight? Are you ready to fight? Let's go fight and win.
This is a very different demographic from those seen in previous protests. It's not only the young and the angry, it is the middle-aged, the elderly. Washington, D.C. has been the center of the federal government, and tens of thousands of workers have been laid off under the Trump administration. But it's also a sample of Americans who have been dismayed by what they view as the cruel and unfeeling policies of the president and the man he selected to lead what is called the Department of Government Efficiency, Elon Musk.
I think everybody is afflicted with what's happening right now. We have young, we have old, we have middle-aged, we have everyone here, and we've got to come together to make a difference.
The message at protests throughout the nation is constant. Don't just resist today, but do so on Monday or week and continue through the months to come. Mike Hanna, Al Jazeera, Washington.
Thank you, Al Jazeera. Thank you for waking us up this morning. Chat says, oh my gosh, Britt, I showed my dad your vegan video. It was such a healing moment for me to show him your work. Oh my God, I love that. What? Okay. I love that. Hey, I was in the store the other day and, I was in the meat department and I can't believe I'm having this transformation. I can't believe it. I want to buy it. Like, a part of me wants to buy it, but then another part of me doesn't. Listen, I don't do things for people. I do things because it's my values. I'm not not eating meat or buying meat because the vegans bullied me on the internet. I'm literally having a transformation of self, and I don't know, how it's going to go. I just know that I still can't bring myself to buy these animals. Like, I don't feel, the way that the vegans were saying I would feel one day, which is looking at them would disgust me. I don't feel disgust. I just feel bad. I don't feel disgust though. I just feel oh, that's so unnecessary. But, I've been enjoying everything I've been making. Guys, nutritional yeast is such a game changer. And look, with this economy, the way that it is, you know what I mean? I couldn't even afford beef anyways. It's too expensive. Chicken is still reasonable, but I've really, really loved this plant-based journey that I've been on. It's been so rewarding and it's been great for the budget. It's been great for, again, I know it seems maybe it seems sort of privileged to be thinking about plant-based diets when the economy is taking such a tank this weekend. But I genuinely think this has to do with the economy. I mean, the meat industry, the factory farming industry, that's impacting the planet, your health, and the economy. So I think it is, if we're going to talk about protesting and being upset with the prices of eggs, what do you think the prices of eggs are related to? So we have to, I think, come together in a sense and really recognize that we have options, but they're not the options you're thinking of. 1 to 4%, I think, or maybe up to 6% of Americans are considered even slightly vegan. Like, we're hardly even a drop in the bucket. And again, I'm not identifying as vegan because I know it's a very specific philosophy system. But again, there are so many good things to eat, so many good ways to be. But going plant-based helps 3 major categories that need our attention. If you care about climate change and stuff like that, of course. But yeah, I've seen the prices of American groceries. I see the stress that my American family and friends are going through. And it's just, without a doubt, we're all definitely connected. I think that's the part that's really hard, is like, it's not just one thing or 2 things, it's everything. I've been thinking about, and I'm not going to cover it here in today's stream, but I have been thinking about these arrests that have been happening to, and these people taken to Venezuelan prisons. And I've been thinking about prison systems and how so many people in jail right now or in prison are just innocent. They either can't pay their way out of prisons, they get picked up for the wrong tattoos, they get, targeted because of their skin color. I think about prison systems and how it's so about upholding the patriarchy through prison systems, and how men keep forgetting that as long as you uphold ideas of toxic masculinity, they will use that toxic masculinity to torture you in prisons. When I see these people being taken to these Venezuelan prisons and they're treated the way they're treated, who's treating you that way? A man. Why is he treating you that way? Because he's been told this is how you treat criminals or bad people. Without toxic masculinity, without upholding the patriarchy, like prisoners, we wouldn't have to be terrified our people were in prison, because we wouldn't have to have the extra fear of them being tortured there because of some toxic masculinity bullshit. I can't tell you how many books I've read, thousands, and how many in the fictional realm is centered around a female protagonist and a male group of people, or a male protagonist around a female who's in a male industry. So PI, agents, FBI, cops, something to do with, that genre of fiction. And how many storylines I've read where the woman has to torture somebody, just like in Guantanamo Bay, and to prove that she's able to do things that men are willing to do. We uphold in America a form of violence, and around the world, a form of violence that's associated with masculinity that then is used to torture men. There is just, I don't even understand why men think there's a long-term benefit to upholding the patriarchy. But that kind of coincides with my theory that they're short-term thinkers, like most people are. Because long-term, this is hurting you. And God forbid you are innocently arrested. They will torture you the way that you think, oh, yes, that's how criminals should be treated. Because you forget nobody should be treated that way, not even criminals. That's why I say even criminals shouldn't be treated this way. And the fact that people are just sitting here saying, well, that's the justification, is that they're criminals. So why become a torturous, horrible person to somebody you think is bad? Which brings me to Israel. Because Israel has it in their head that they have the right to kill Palestinians or innocent people or target aid workers because, well, these people hurt us on October 7th, right? Like, that's the idea. That's why the mass rapes as a political talking point is so horrendous, because they're saying, well, if they raped somebody, we have the right to kill their children. Just do the math. Do the math and understand that that's what they're doing. They are justifying violence because they have to paint you as the bad guy. And all of this is just so undignified, but humans are going to human. This is that part of being like an animal on a planet. We all evolve to doing what we think is reasonable, but it's not reasonable in a world in which it's unnecessary. And that's the question, unreasonable and unnecessary. How are you being reasonable if you're doing things that are unnecessary? But unnecessary, that's where we all end up debating, right? So check out this video, new video of an Israeli attack on Gaza, contradicts military claims, which we knew was happening. And this is why people record their final moments, not only for their family and friends, but to show people all of the propaganda you are seeing is propaganda to make you think that Israel is only ever targeting, quote, Hamas, when they're not. They are targeting civilians. They are targeting aid workers. And it takes a lot of this footage. And now finally the Western media is catching up with it, right? It's been a very long time, but they're finally catching up with it. and they're reporting these things. This is from Channel 4 News. They're finally reporting things about Israel's, they're not using the word genocide enough, but, you know, basically Israel's genocide on Palestinians. But look at this footage that just came out over the weekend.
Travelling south on the road to Rafah. The unmistakable red and blue flashes of emergency vehicles driving in convoy towards Gazans in need. En route, they see another ambulance that appears to have veered off the road. Their vehicles,
He said, oh God, I hope they're okay.
and high-vis uniform clearly marked with the emblem of the Red Crescent.
There they are lying around. They're scattered everywhere. So basically, from my understanding of this story, I'm not sure if they're going to mention it in this little clip, the aid workers were going out to find their fellow aid workers because they weren't responding or getting back to them.
Little did they know.
He said, quickly, it looks like an accident.
That they themselves are about to become the victims. The video of apparent relentless Israeli fire continues for 5 minutes as the paramedic filming prays for mercy.
Forgive me, mother. I just wanted to help people. I wanted to save lives. So here's aid workers trying to figure out where their buddies went and why they disappeared. They were used as a decoy. Their friends' trucks and bodies were basically used as a decoy for Israeli soldiers to ambush aid workers who came to save them.
هذه هي الطريقة اللي اخترتها يما إني أساعد الناس سامحيني يما.
For nearly 2 weeks, Israel has denied the apparent reality, claiming they opened fire on suspicious vehicles advancing towards them without headlights or emergency signals. The footage appears to directly contradict their version of events. It was discovered on a phone buried with the paramedic in a shallow mass grave, along with 14 of his colleagues and their vehicles. The Palestine Red Crescent Society said he'd been shot in the head.
This devastating incident represents the single most deadly attack on Red Cross Red Crescent workers.
All of those people have lives. These are people's sons and brothers and sisters. I don't know if there's any women in the convoy, but these are just people's bodies. These are people's lives. It's just a person, a regular ass person, you and me, a regular ass human. And Israel is just sitting there ambushing them, tricking them, their aid workers, emergency vehicles, tricking them as they're saving people and targeting them and murdering them. And then being like, we don't know what we did. All those people should be in prison, not tortured, because I don't think we should torture prisoners, and treated with dignity, more dignity than they've ever shown anybody else. But they should not be allowed to walk free from this. This is not the kind of people we want in society. We should not. And whoever gave the order should also be in prison. Why are you shooting people? Why are you killing aid workers? How do you go at home and sleep? And again, humans are going to human. This is all of world history. All of human history is violence. Human beings, we give each other too much credit. We give ourselves way too much credit because we have been violent as a species and we continue to be violent. But the fact, don't get it twisted, that we're not living in some amazing modern time where we're not like those past people. Those past people were just like us. And we are living in a very modern time where this is just being so normalized and ignored. What are the chances we see any justice for these people?
Anywhere in the world since 2017. These dedicated ambulance workers were responding to wounded people. They were humanitarians. They wore emblems that should have been protected. Their ambulances were clearly marked and they should have returned to the families. They did not. Even in the most complex conflict zones, there are rules.
Israel say they are thoroughly investigating the incident.
Oh, okay.
But that
Great. Israel investigating itself. Super helpful, guys.
will give little solace to those who buried their family members this week. History offers little reassurance to them that anyone will be held accountable. Instead, Prime Minister Netanyahu will continue his tour away from problems back home, leaving Hungary for the US, where he'll become the first foreign leader welcomed to the White House since President Trump's so-called Liberation Day.
Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Bro. This is Channel 4. I'll link it in case you guys want to see what I saw. Also, hold on. Let me get you the... Where's the Al Jazeera? Let me get
No peace!
no
It's billed as
justice, no peace. Let me get you the Al Jazeera story as well so you guys can check it out. Oh, exhausting, huh? Humans. This is truly humans. And I really do think that if men cared about men's lives, they would work on nonviolent solutions. Men do not care about men's lives. This is a generalization that I think is appropriate to talk about the overall experience of men. If men tell me they are afraid as men of other men, you should be afraid of your captains and leaders putting you in uniforms and giving you orders to kill innocent people. Innocent men. You don't care about men. You cannot tell me you care about men and in any way justify these orders and justify these actions. And this is why I say the patriarchy is hurtful to men. The patriarchy convinces young boys to sign up for militaries, to wear uniforms and die in those uniforms when their leaders would never. And by the way, Trump is a draft dodger. You are taking orders from a man who did everything he could to not serve. What was it? Bone spurs, I believe? Ridiculous. Just absolutely ridiculous. So again, when I hear men complaining and they spend all their time complaining about women and gay people and trans people, girl, stay in your lane and fix your issue with your people. Because right now, it's a man's world and men are the problem. They really got to figure their shit out. And it's male leaders and male sergeants. And it's literally men. And we are all sitting here at the mercy of men and their whims. Look at Trump playing golf and tanking the US economy, playing golf and making friends with all these horrible dictatorships. Look at Trump playing golf and literally bragging about how smart and wonderful and humble he is at the same time. Girl, please. Okay, speaking of men, okay, girl. Speaking of men upholding the patriarchy, and speaking of open predators, right? And I'm not talking about Trump right now. I'm talking about the predator to Jesus Christ pipeline that is Russell Brand. Explain to me how all these men who are all predators, who have a history of being misogynistic, all somehow end up under patriarchal religions. Andrew Tate in Islam, Tristan Tate in Christianity, okay? Trump in his alleged Bible, please, Lord knows, okay? And then now Russell Brand, who went from just playboy to misogynist to drug addict to the second coming of Christ, apparently. All these people getting baptized. And this is why I say, I love freedom of religion. I think you should have the right to exist. But any religion that upholds the man as the center of it is bad for you and me. It's bad for you and me. Chad says they already called Obama a terrorist. He pointed that out. If he even did a fraction of what Trump did, people would write against him. Obama just simply existed, and it was enough for people to hate his guts. Obama simply existed, and it was enough for people to literally hate him. You know what I'm saying? That was it. Okay, Russell Brand, let's get through it. I'm going to play this video. And I have 3 videos I want to show you in regards to Russell Brand, including his own words. Okay, so let's dive into it. Russell Brand facing charges of rape and assault, multiple counts. Not surprised. You're not surprised. I'm not surprised. We knew this was coming because we had heard from the women a while back. So we knew this was coming. I'm not surprised. I don't know, but I fully believed he did it. I believe the victims. I believe he has assaulted somebody. You know why? Because men assault and think they're having fun. Men will sexually assault somebody and just be like, I'm having a good time. Do you remember that video we went over on stream of the woman reporting on a race and a man walked by and slapped her butt? Men are openly sexually assaulting people and just think it's a fun, good time. It's not. This isn't the behavior we want in society. So yeah, do I believe Russell Brand assaulted somebody? Absolutely. Men are openly doing it in the streets and thinking they're being cute. You're not being cute. It's not cute. I'm not amused. All right.
It's the early 2010s, and it seems everywhere you look, there's Russell Brand, starring in Hollywood films like Get Him to the Greek, headlining comedy specials like Russell Brand Messiah Complex.
You know that an immigrant is just someone who used to be somewhere else.
and strutting across the red carpet as the husband and arm candy of pop superstar Katy Perry.
At a certain point, it seemed as if Russell Brand was going to be the next big thing. He was married to Katy Perry. He was getting comedy deals. He was being courted by movie producers. Everyone, for a while, wanted to work with Russell Brand.
But Russell Brand of 2025 is facing very serious charges for his alleged behavior from the past. Today, prosecutors in the UK authorized police to charge Brand with multiple sexual offenses involving 4 different women.
Now, remember, because chat says, sometimes I find it hard to know all of this and not be a misandrist. Just a reminder, in order to be a misandrist, you would think that men are inherently born this way. It is not that you believe men are raised under patriarchy and normalize sexual assault, and therefore you hate men who are raised this way. I think it's okay to be upset that certain people are raised in cultures that justify and encourage them to sexually assault people. Even Donald Trump recently said, like, oh, you can't call a woman beautiful anymore, but you can lose your job or get canceled, but I think you're beautiful. Melania, I think you're beautiful. And Melania, like, okay, so he has, right? Like, they twist it into being like, I'm just trying to say you're attractive. I'm just trying to say smile more. I'm just trying to cop a feel because I want you to know your boobs are great. Like, they're just okay, being a misandrist, I know we joke about it a lot, but to be an actual misandrist, you would have to think that men are second, that men are lowly, that men are inherently. That's why misogyny is so shitty, because men are inherently walking around inherently believing that because women are born women, they are literally biologically inferior. Okay? I hope, we don't believe you are born inferior by how you're born, period. Nobody is born inferior. We believe you can be born into cultures that reinforce behavior that is deplorable, that is gross and disgusting. But I hope nobody in my audience actually believes anyone is born inherently worthless or bad or awful or genetically inferior. Everybody is born perfect. And we live in a world in which we must learn to adapt to that imperfection, the imperfection of the world, right? Like, you are not ever born wrong. You are simply born you. And then the world molds you and shapes you and makes you feel bad for being that person. You know? Okay.
The UK's Crown Prosecution Service writing in a statement, in part, we have concluded that Russell Brand should be charged with offences including rape, sexual assault, and indecent assault. These relate to reported non-recent offences between 1999 and 2005 involving 4 women. The Metropolitan Police then...
You know what they say, if there's 4, there's more. Okay? If there's 4, there's more. That's what they say.
Announcing that charges have been filed.
Russell Brand is facing 4 unique charges, and the most serious of them is rape. That has a penalty of up to life in prison. But sexual assault, for example, is also a serious charge where the maximum is up to 10 years in prison.
Brand responding to the charges online.
I was a fool, man. I was a fool before I lived in the light of the Lord.
Oh, Jesus saved him, bros. He's good. Doesn't matter what he did before. Jesus got him. It's good now. I guess we can forgive him.
I was a drug addict.
I'm using sarcasm.
A sex addict and an imbecile. But what I never was a rapist. I've never engaged in non-consensual activity. I pray that you can see that by looking in my eyes.
He said, I pray you can see that by looking in my eyes. Let's watch the full clip that he offered us so we don't have to go off a snippet.
Hello. Firstly, thank you for these incredible and overwhelming messages of support. We're very fortunate in a way to live in a time where there's so little trust in the British government. We're very fortunate, I suppose, that this is happening at a time where we know that the law has become a kind of weapon to be used against people, institutions, and sometimes entire nations.
I love how he sets up the whole thing about him being a rapist with, we can't trust the government, we can't trust anything they said. Also, I'm a Christian.
That will not accept and tolerate levels of corruption that are unprecedented. I'm speaking particularly to those of you that are watching this in the UK. How do you feel about your legal system right now?
I love the way that they manipulate. They add doubt. They make sure that you doubt the system. So the system that's coming for him, it's wrong. He's so good at, look at this manipulation. This is why I say predator to Jesus Christ pipeline, predator to religious pipeline, predator to Muslim pipeline. It's big. It's big. Islam and Christians really fighting for who gets the predator next. Okay? Andrew Tate, Russell Brand. Perfect examples.
How do you feel about some of the high-profile cases that are not being pursued and prosecuted? How do you feel that the Southport murders were handled? How do you feel about the government of Keir Starmer? Now, that's just sort of general context. Me, I've always told you guys that when I was young and single, before I had my wife and family, were just out of shot over there, my beautiful children, I was...
My beautiful... Oopsies. What did I just do? Hold on. I don't know why I did that. Oh, sorry. My beautiful children... I don't know why that happened. Oh, there was a link. My beautiful children. Fun fact, just a reminder that Russell Brand broke up with Katy Perry, asked for a divorce right when she was about to go on stage via her or middle of her tour. Do you guys remember that? She literally got the message via text that he wanted a divorce right before she was about to go on stage. Wow, what a time to tell her, dude. What a time to tell her.
Children. I was a fool, man. I was a fool before I lived in the light of the Lord.
Okay. So just a reminder that the predator to religious pipeline is really a thing, and you have to pay attention to it. Okay, I'll link this in the chat. Okay, so that's from The New Yorker. That's Russell Brand's full message. Let's go back to the video we were watching initially, and this is by ABC.
Charges come after police launched an investigation into Brand following allegations of rape, sexual assault, and emotional abuse made against him in 2023 in a report by the Times of London.
Also, just to point out that if he's saying he was a drug addict, he was all these horrible things, he goes, but I was never a rapist. Well, okay, first of all, how do you identify rape? Like, how do you even think that works? Because a lot of people be raping and don't think they're raping. Like, you would be amazed at how many people are literally assaulting people. And they're like, that's not assault. Because again, we have been conditioned to believe that rape is only when you've bruised or beaten somebody, or rape is when, you know, it has to look a particular way. But that's why we are asking, especially for those of us who are adults in the 2010s, those of us who are adults in the 2000s, we know that a lot of our media was very rapey, very rape culture, and people just thought it was funny. There's a whole How I Met Your Mother. You know, obviously we can look back at How I Met Your Mother. Like, I mean, the fact that they, in so many of these like types of media, get women drunk in order to make them say yes, like that's coercion. That's a form of rape. And so that's the thing that we're not understanding, is that we are defining this very differently. And look, you have to have a lot of rude awakenings when you're raised in that environment to realize, like, oh, we've really normalized just touching people's boobs. Like, we've really normalized just touching people's bodies. We've really normalized just touching people's butts. Like, we've really normalized a lot of really horrible things. And we need to stop normalizing it, but to remember that this is a global phenomenon. I think Iraq just lowered their age of consent to like 9. Like, we are at fault as a species. We need to, all of us, women included, all of us are raised under the patriarchy. We need to deconstruct. So these men, for Russell to say that was the past me, yeah, but did the past you like hold yourself accountable for your past crimes? I don't think so. And joining a church and being a part of a religion, like, that's not enough. And I'm not saying he should be tortured. I'm not saying he should, necessarily do X, Y, Z. I'm saying he has to do something, and it has to be more than pretending it didn't happen.
London, Sunday Times, and Channel 4. 4 women claimed they were assaulted by Brand between 2006 and 2013. One of the accusers says she was just 16 at the time of the alleged assault.
And that's the other thing. UK age of consent is lower. So maybe that's his reasoning. But remember, Andrew Tate bragged about having sex with a 16-year-old because the age of consent was allowed. Even when his own audience called him out, him and Tristan said, like, what's your problem? It was consensual. She was old enough. You know what I'm saying? So remember that. Okay? Remember that these men will have sex with teenagers and say, but the age of consent, but you still had sex with a teenager, dude. You still had sex with a kid. What do you mean age of consent?
They spoke anonymously in the 2023 Channel 4 documentary, Russell Brand in Plain Sight.
I was pushing him away. And so I ended up having to punch him really hard in the stomach to get him off. And I was crying. And he said, oh, I only want to see your mascara run anyway.
It's unclear as to whether or not the same 4 individuals who are a part of this criminal complaint would be the same that we learned about in the 2023 documentary. And the reason for that is in the documentary, the timeline is anywhere between 2006 to 2013. But what the CPS has put out is that the time frame there is from 1999 to 2005. And so could it be the same people? Yes.
Discord said a lot of former predators do convert to a religion to absolve them of their issues, and plenty spaces accept and protect them. I mean, I think that's so true. And we've seen that with the Catholic Church. We've seen the way they protect predators because they believe in like absolving of sins, because they believe in forgiveness, but they forget that's God's job, not yours. Okay. And so sometimes I really think these religious people, they forget that they're not God. And I think they're absolving people's sins when they shouldn't have the power to do that. And I know priests have the power of God to absolve sins and all that jazz, but let's be so real, okay? And this is why I say be careful of men who continue to uphold patriarchal religions and use it as an excuse to forgive their past sins. If you look at Catholicism or Christianity through a philosophical lens, I think it's obvious that when God says turn to the Lord and the person you were in the past is no more, he doesn't mean you don't have to be held accountable, girl. That's not what that means. It's about talking about how you can be someone different, that you can hold yourself accountable, that you can say, look at the way that I have failed and look at the way that I shall succeed. It's to give hope to people who feel hopeless. It's not meant to excuse you of your bad behavior. But I think people see that scripture and think, yeah, I'm absolved, so everything I did yesterday doesn't count. No, everything you did yesterday does count, and you must spend the rest of your life repenting, giving penance, saying your Hail Marys and your Our Fathers. None of you are doing that. None of you are doing the penance. That's not how it works, girl. And when you get to heaven, St. Peter gonna have a list of all the shit you did, because that's how it's supposed to work. So all of these men joining these religions thinking, well, it happened yesterday, so it doesn't matter. Girl, I hope God does exist. And I hope when you face her, you realize like that little dream you were believing in, no, ma'am.
Brand denied the accusations at the time, posting on his social media.
Amidst this litany of astonishing, rather baroque attacks are some very serious allegations that I absolutely refute. During that time of promiscuity, the relationships I had were absolutely always consensual.
I think the way that he responded to these allegations, I think it's a little bit of a mixed bag, because while he does deny that these things happened, he also acknowledges that there was a period of time in his life that was chaotic.
Well, it's exactly. It was chaotic. You don't get it. I was such a bad person. Yeah. And, right? Discord says they care more about predators than they do gay people, to be honest. You know what's so funny? I saw a TikTok that was like, you have the 10 Commandments and not one of them talk about gay people. And it's so funny how religious people will be like, I believe in the 10 Commandments. I believe in the 10 Commandments. But you're saying God's name in vain. You're not going to church every Sunday. You're not honoring your mother and father. You're sleeping with your neighbor's wife. You're coveting. You know what I'm saying? Like, they sit there and target gay and trans people when we're not even on the 10 Commandments. Leave us alone.
It's unclear what connection today's filing has to do with the previous allegations. The criminal charges are the first Russell Brand could be facing in court. Brand got his start as a radio and TV personality in the UK. Here he is on MTV in the early 2000s. People started to learn his name from his charismatic comedy in breakout hit films like Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
My ex-boyfriend.
Oh, right, hey, I'm Alder Snow.
I know who you are, yeah, you're very, very famous.
Yeah, I am, for my sins.
And voicing Dr. Nefario in several of the Despicable Me movies.
Some fella just stole a pyramid.
These were films that were popcorn movies, or well received by audiences. It almost felt like you were seeing a fictionalized version of who Russell Brand actually is in real life.
Releasing a New York Times best-selling autobiography, My Bookie Book, in 2007, which chronicled his public battle with addiction. Something he discussed with former Nightline anchor Bill Weir in 2010.
When did it bottom out? When did you realize you had to make a change?
I'd lost my job at MTV because of some inappropriate crack-induced on-screen lunacy. They said if you continue taking drugs at the rate you are, within 6 months you'll be dead, in prison, or in a lunatic asylum. I considered all three options, And I thought, lunatic asylum, that'll probably be horrible. Death, well, no one knows yet what that entails. And prison, not for with these eyebrows, I don't think so. So I thought, get off the drugs.
Was it difficult?
It was the hardest thing I've ever done.
In 2009, Brand took center stage hosting the Video Music Awards, where his flirtation with Katy Perry led to a real-life romance.
What was it about Katy that touched you?
I think I was growing up anyway, Bill. Eventually I wanted a companion, a friend. So it's the most normal relationship I've ever had. Like the other day, seriously, we were getting ready, Bill, to go out. She goes, "Oh, you're wearing that shirt, are you?" And I went, "Yeah." Bill, I did not wear that.
A little more than a year after getting together, they married in a lavish wedding in India. But just 14 months after tying the knot, he and Katy Perry divorced.
Damn.
Their breakup documented in Perry's 2012 documentary, Part of Me. The heart-wrenching scene showing the moment she says Brand asked her for a divorce via text right before she went on stage for a show.
There is a viral moment in Katy Perry's documentary where she finds out that Russell Brand no longer wants to be married, and she's very emotional. She's crying, and then she snaps to it, puts on her game face, and goes out and performs.
Brand recently commented,
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Not a good guy. Not a good guy. Now she's married to Legolas, so they seem happy. Okay, she's married to Orlando Bloom, and they seem much happier now. Oh, yeah.
on his podcast, Stay Free, about their breakup.
And the reasons that our marriage didn't work are the normal human reasons. Marriages don't work, and I have nothing but respect for her, even though I obviously disagree with her political views.
Brand's own political views in recent years have leaned conservative. He's posted photos on Instagram from his visit to President Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate. He's also talked about his commitment to Christianity in a recent interview with Sean Hannity on Fox News.
Since becoming Christian, I recognize that many of the principles that were made clear to me in 12-step recovery reach a kind of fulfillment, continuation, and elevation.
There's been a colossal change in Russell Brand's public image. He went from being this yogi, wellness, kind of hippie.
He is exactly the red flag you see in like cult, like Jared Leto vibes. Somebody said that in chat earlier. Absolute agree. The hippie, Jesus-esque white man who's like, "Come believe in me. I believe in Jesus Christ. I'll go fuck you so good you'll see the light of the Lord." Okay, when I come into you, it's like Jesus blessing you, like he turned wine or water into wine. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's that guy. He's like, "Come into the desert with me. Trust me. Let me fuck you. And when I have sex with you, you'll reach like glorifying orgasm or some shit." Exactly. The twin flame cult. Oh my God. I have a video. We're going to watch that this week, probably tomorrow. Twin flame cult. We have a video to watch. Like, absolutely that vibe. White men who look like Jesus, red flags. Okay? White men who look like Jesus, red flags. Stay with me, girls. White men who look like Jesus, red flags. Always. Always. Chet says, "Why you go so good at accents?" It's the autism. I don't even think I'm good at accents. I think I'm good at mirroring people and mimicking them because I learn how to express myself through other people's mannerisms. So I actually think I just spent all my life like being like, if I was Russell Brand, I love Katy Perry. I respect her. Donald Trump, you know, like you sit there and you try to embody, it's the theater kid in me, girl. It's the theater kid in me.
Funny guy guru to now being this Trump.
Exactly. Don't answer that DM. If Russell Brand slides into your DMs, don't answer it. I would tell you if it happened, but I would not answer it.
Inspired, hanging out with Fox News hosts, Christian conservative. Significant difference.
Brand is expected in court for the first time on May 2nd. Much like the U.S., if the case against Russell Brand does go to trial, it'll be the prosecution's burden to prove each and every element of the crime beyond a reasonable doubt in order to convict Russell Brand.
Okay, now, this was ABC News. I'll go ahead and link the video in the chat. You guys can check them out. Okay, now, girls, now, okay. This is Okay. Russell Brand, explaining it himself, just came out less than a day ago. He did a live stream on his own channel. Listen to how he tells the story, right? And look, I fully think he's done it. I fully think he's the predator to Christian pipeline that a lot of predators choose to go down, which is I'll pretend I'm religious, I'll pretend I'm pious, but I'm actually a predator. It's amazing to me how people continue to fall for evangelical pastors with private jets. I don't know how y'all are still falling. Did you see that pastor? You did. The guy who's like, shut the doors until we make $40,000 for the church. Girl, how did every single one of those people not leave that church and never come back? And this is why I say the world is a reflection of us as a whole. We are responsible for the bullshit we consume. You are responsible. You are the adult. Do not sit here in your home and think I'm so smart and I'm so wise and fall for this bullshit and then be like, I can't believe I was bamboozled. Yes, you can be a victim and you can be responsible at the same time. I cannot believe grown-ups sat in a church and listened to a man say, you cannot leave this church until you give me $40,000, and he had anyone come to service the next week. Okay, without victim blaming, which is real, we also need to hold ourselves accountable for how we uplift the patriarchy, maintain racism, allow misogyny to be relevant and prevalent in our lives. And it's bullshit. It's bullshit. You can be smart and be bamboozled. You can be smart and be a victim. But let's be a little bit more wise in how we deconstruct the churches that we go to, the communities we uplift, and the leaders we keep putting in those positions. Because I'm so tired. I'm so tired with everybody sitting here and thinking I'm so smart. Well, if you're so smart, then your life makes no sense. And in the same way, we have to accept that. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? I'm trying to say we are smart and we are stupid. You cannot be smart in every decision, but that means you are responsible for your stupidity. In the same way you look at these conservatives and we look at all these other people, in the same way conservatives look at all these liberals and go, you're so stupid. We're both stupid. We're just stupid in different ways. I prefer my level of stupid to some of these MAGA people. You know what I'm saying? Okay, let's listen to Russell tell his own story.
What I feel when looking at it with my heart as open as I can manage is that knowing that there are people that to whatever degree and for whatever reason willing to participate in a venture of this nature means that I recognise that I must have in some ways caused harm. In those Gideon hedonistic days, those ludicrous dark days, those days where I was part of a culture that then seemed to warmly applaud and celebrate Epicureanism, the relentless pursuit of pleasure, a kind of casual godlessness, the kind of godlessness that leads to the erection, forgive the word, of false gods everywhere. 1 minute this is...
All right, pause there, buddy. Jesus, I feel like I'm back in church. Just kidding. My church has never sounded like this. Let me just say this. Hedonism is a trap. In a philosophical sense, it is 100% a trap. Okay, I'm not a fan of hedonism. You're not a fan of hedonism. But the answer to hedonism is not religion. Religion is the other trap. So there's religion and there's hedonism. Religious philosophy, especially patriarchal religious philosophy, is not the answer to hedonism. Okay? They are both traps. They are both cages that claim to give you freedom and salvation. And he is now peddling the other side of the trap. So now, instead of being the rock star who does cocaine, he's now the Bible thumper who preaches Jesus. He did not grow. He did not get better. But it's enough for people to think he did because the branding has shifted. A brand shift does not mean he's gotten better.
Is your idol. The next minute, this is your idol. Fall down, bow down, and worship at their corporate and consumer altars. When I was in that world, I must have been captured by a kind of darkness. But remember, for 22 and a half years, I've been drug and alcohol free, and I have a pretty good memory of accounts. And I also know that I am a person that very much respects the idea of consent. And I pray that over the coming months, when I participate with full volition and total cooperation in any legal inquiry, we'll get to see how the justice system operates in the United Kingdom. We'll get to see what the relationships are between various organizations.
That's the new predator talking point as well. Andrew Tate uses it all the time. I'm a free man. I'm an innocent man. That's why we're here. That's why my brother and I are here. We're free men, innocent men. Like, they come out They show up, they go, we're here, we've shown up. Now it's the government's decision to actually find something we did wrong. As if it's that simple. Like they always say, we're cooperating, we're getting along with authority, we're not fighting the police. Like, yeah. Because you think you're going to get away with it, but it's a good like a dog whistle almost, like a good, maybe not dog whistle, like a manipulation to their audience. Like, yeah, he must be innocent because he's turning himself in. Yeah, he must be innocent because he has nothing to hide. That's why he's showing up.
Organisations, to list a few, the CPS, the Met, the Times, Channel 4. We'll see if there are any unusual relationships between some of those organisations. It's difficult not to reflect that indeed the people participating in this are victims of a type, but not victims of me, because I've always been open. You can go and watch my stand-up comedy. You can read my book. I couldn't have been more clear that I was out there having sex with anybody who wanted to. And let me tell you, when you're a famous guy, people are up.
Oh, yeah. If you're famous and there's people who want to have sex with you, you can't rape people. That was the Kobe Bryant argument. The Kobe Bryant argument was, how could Kobe rape somebody if people want to have sex with Kobe? That sounds really good out loud, right? Like, why would you need to rape somebody if you could have sex with anybody? Because rape isn't about sex. Rape is never about sex. Same way incels won't just go hire a sex worker because it's not about the sex. Incels want to know they can have women they don't have to pay for. Rapists want victims that know they don't want it. You consenting is exactly like not helpful to a rapist. If they wanted, you know what I'm saying? Like, I hate how good this argument sounds to the human brain, but it's such a bad argument.
For it. People are up for it. I got to be honest with you, that was part of the reason I even bothered becoming famous in the first place, because I thought this will be a glorious opportunity for hedonistic adventure. Surely then my life will mean something. Surely I can find some value in the comfort of strangers. Surely I can lose myself in endless pleasure. Well, you know, as a follower of Jesus Christ, I recognize that sex is a very, very powerful force. In fact, it says in the Bible that sex should only be practiced within the confines of a loving marriage, because the
Maybe him and Adon should become friends. Just kidding. Adon, you stay away from Russell Brand. That was a joke. That was a joke. If anyone saw my last video, not having sex before marriage is fine. Being religious is fine. You know, all of it is fine. But if you use your church to hide your past crimes against humanity, even if it's outside of a legal sense, then your religion isn't really all it's chalked up to be. And anytime I hear a person say, like, I'm a follower of Jesus Christ, okay, then you need to follow that up with aligning with what would Jesus do. WWJD girls, what would Jesus do? And you know what's ironic is sometimes I wish there was a God so he could come down and be like, that bitch did it, bro. That bitch totally did it, bro. I saw him. I was there. I couldn't do anything about it because I'm all powerful and I could have stopped it, but I didn't stop it, but he definitely did it. You know what I mean? This all powerful God that's like, yeah, I would have saved your kid from getting raped, but you know, I couldn't do it. I was busy, you know, but I saw it. It happened for sure because I know everything. You know what I mean? Like, girl, sometimes I wish we really did have flies on the wall that could be like, we got the tape. You know what I mean? But we don't. So we have to use our wisdom and our judgment to come to conclusions. And I'm telling you, he has everything. We should make a bingo card of if you have 6 out of 8 of these, definitely did it. And he's got it. 4 then more people came out saying he's got 4 or more cases of crimes against him. Okay. Pipeline of party boy, hedonistic guy, fuck boy branding to Christian follower, Jesus Christ worshiper. Okay. Hello. Treats his ex with cruelty and shows no empathy towards her. Okay. What else? Oh, uses his children as a weapon, right? For branding. Love that. And right-wing pipeline grift. Now he's on Rumble. Guys, he's on Rumble and all the most free speech advocates on Rumble. Free speech mentioned. You know what I'm saying?
force is so
Oh,
powerful.
and of course, white guy who looks like Jesus. That's the most important one.
There's no question about that. I've learned a lot, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to tell the truth, to participate in a process of reconciliation and healing. Let me know in the comments and chat if you think that the United Kingdom judicial system and media is...
Let me know in the chat. Did I rape her? Let me know. What are we going to do without all these men? Russell's facing this really scary misandrous world, and I'm just really worried about him, you know? I really wish we would just respect all these men. They're really struggling. Was she wearing lipstick? You know what lipstick means, don't you?
Capable of delivering that. Obelia, sex without love is empty. True pancake, Christ is king. Buddy,
Christ is king, red flag.
105. Don't worry, Russell, the motives in the UK are blatant given the historical context. It is pretty extraordinary the way that these events have worked out chronologically, isn't it? It's pretty interesting that because most the allegations, just so you know, the charges in fact relate to events between 1999 and 2004. You probably won't even have heard of me until, I don't know, 2005, 2006. You know, so it means that when you heard of me, these things are already alleged to have taken place. So all the time that I was married to Katy Perry, all the time that the Me Too movement was happening, all the time, remember when I was talking openly about the coronavirus and the corruption during the coronavirus era and how the media lied to us and shamed us and tried to control us?
Look at what he's doing. Look at what he's doing. He's like, remember when I was one of you? Remember how I was there for you? Remember I had your back? You better have my back. You know what I mean? Like, remember that, right? Remember. Like, he's dog whistling. He's like, this is all propaganda, right? This is all propaganda, right? Wait, chat says, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I just learned that free will according to the Bible has to do with humans having the free will to worship God. Does anyone know this? Right, like I grew up in Catholicism. You have free will. And what you do with it matters. You can choose Christ or not choose Christ. Christ isn't going to make you choose him. But of course, if you don't choose him, you go to hell. Okay, Mabel with the super chat, thank you so much, says, let me see. What do you say, girl? We're talking about a society that thought it was hilarious when Fleece Johnson was bragging about raping men. Men don't empathize with each other. How can we hope for them to empathize with us? Well, I think they're raised that way. They're raised, one, to never admit they were raped or assaulted. They're raised to feel belittled, right, when they come out with their stories. This happened with Terry Crews when he came out with his assault story, and nobody fucking cared. They laughed at him. They literally mocked him. So men are raised to mock each other, and because we're animals and we're such tribal little herd animals, we do just like, we bully together. Okay? We bully, we say horrible things to each other. And look, all of us are guilty. But not all of us are guilty the way they're guilty. And I think that's what's important. All of us are guilty. Not all of us are guilty the way they're guilty. And like, that's the point. When you're guilty the way they're guilty, we are playing a different game. And the fact that we can't so easily hold them accountable is that's the telling story of how fucked up we are. As a species, it's not about the time we're here. It's not about right now. It's about as a collective, always, forever, since day one. Human beings, as a species, this is where we are. And we are moving within our nature. That's why when conservatives say it's unnatural to be gay, girl, it's natural to rape. Everything is nature. That's why you must have a deeper, more elevated relationship with your nature. It is within your nature to rape. It is within your nature to hate. It is within your nature to be violent. This is why we introspect and extrospect. So we remove our relationship with our most base animal self, and we have a higher relationship with self, right? Mabel, another super chat. Thank you so much. Says Fleece Johnson brags about it on a podcast now. Damn. I think that's, you know what I mean? That's such a testament too. I just saw Lady Gaga show up on Howard Stern. Howard Stern, girl, how rich and privileged do you have to be so you can say no to these fucking gigs? The fact that Lady Gaga uses her free will to go on Howard Stern modern day in this year of our Lord FKA Twigs is insane to me. And this year of our Lord FKA Twigs, Lady Gaga is still doing gigs with Howard Stern, one of the largest, like, misogynists, one of the most, I think, disgusting, vile people who's ever had a microphone. At what point are we privileged enough to stop engaging with these horrible people? And at one point, are you just like uplifting them in your collaborations? So, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not Gaga fan. I'm not listening to her latest album. I'm over her. Okay? Disappointed because she's such a talent. But see how talent doesn't equate to morals? Okay? And that's the problem. Oh, he was so talented, though. She was so talented, though. Your talent doesn't matter, girl, if you're upholding the patriarchy at the expense of everybody else in such a dangerous and obvious way. And look, we've all been there. Drew Afawalo has that great book about her time as a pick-me. We've all been there. The question is, as you age and you have more power and you have more freedom, and this is why I encourage you to keep continuing forward. I know we're in the 2 steps back of the 3 steps forward era, but there is going to be a 3 steps forward, and I need you guys to have resources, jobs, connections, networking, education. I need you guys to stay curious, open-minded. I need you to stay interested in the future, because everybody else isn't thinking about the future. And that's why the world is the way it is, because all of these billionaires, they don't care about the future. That's why they're destroying the planet. All these people who go, well, if they're going to do it, I'm going to do it because I'm going to die. Yeah, but other people are still going to be alive after you die, girl. Nobody is thinking about the future. So if you want to participate and do what they're doing, I mean, it is what it is. Humans are going to human, but I don't recommend it. I'm not going to make a prescription, but I don't recommend it. Okay?
How companies like Pfizer and Moderna made record profits, how the UK inquiry into COVID was tepid, how people like Anthony Fauci ought to be regarded as criminals, how we have to have an open debate about the causes of war, whether they're the Middle Eastern wars or wars between Russia and Ukraine. It's interesting to me that once I was on the radar of the deep state and many of their
conspiracy theory terms
affiliates within media, because the media and the government are not separate entities. The media and the institutions of power are not separate entities. We know that now. We'll start off by looking at the United Kingdom. If you are a UK resident, how do you feel in the UK right now? How do you feel about the rape gang crisis? How do you feel that there's
the rape gang crisis? Interesting.
To be no inquiry into the
this is racism, dog whistling.
Rape gang crisis in the UK, but there is time and evidently resources to look at alleged incidents, in my case, 20 years ago, 25 years ago. And by the way,
I can't believe they're paying attention to my rape when there's other rapes happening right now. There's always rapes happening, girl. Okay? Do you remember when Washington State, when we were talking about rape culture, probably around 2011 to 2015, and we were talking about those 6,000 unchecked rape kits that had been submitted by people in the state and had not been checked by people? It doesn't matter how long ago it happened. We're behind. If anything, that shows me that we're behind. Not that we should ignore his rape and focus on the ones happening today. We should acknowledge that we are letting people fall through the cracks and people are getting away with their crimes.
I don't believe in that statute of limitation stuff. I think if someone committed a crime 20 years ago, 30 years ago, if a crime was committed, the person should be held accountable. Justice. I believe in justice. I believe in integrity. I believe in truth. Why? Because I believe in God. I believe that we're here to love one another, but I don't believe the media believe that, and I don't believe the institutions in democracy in the United Kingdom are acting like truth, freedom, and the sanctity of the human spirit are a priority right now. Do you believe that? Let me.
Wow. God, what a manipulator, bro. He's literally talking to his audience like they're 5-year-olds. He's like, you don't believe that, right? We can't trust any of these institutions. So everybody investigating you, we can't trust. Got it.
Let me know if you're watching this in the UK. Let's have a little look at this stuff. Yeah, what do you like? I became a Christian, preempting that.
Wait, Chad says, does he look like he's reading a teleprompter to anyone else? Well, he is reading a script. He used to read a 1-page document. Guys, all of these people are reading off something. You know, they're being backed by conservative donors, millions of dollars. They're reading scripts. Like, that's why they're not just streamers. They're propagandists. They're not just guys in their bedrooms having fun with you. They are reading off sheets. They have a team of people who put these talking points together, right? Like, just a reminder that the shtick is, I'm one of you. But the reality is he is the furthest thing from one of you.
Charges would appear from deep history. I acted hedonistically, knowing that in retrospect it would all pay off. But what I have to remind myself, it's weird, because if you're a trending topic on something like X, and if you are watching us on X or YouTube or wherever you're watching us, remember, you're going to have to watch us ultimately on Rumble. It's difficult not to get sort of solipsistic and narcissistic and think that you're kind of significant and important. I recognize that my only significance and importance is one of the operators in new media space that present a radical threat to patterns of communication that were long established.
The reason Russell rose, because I remember watching Russell during COVID, and I remember like, what is this change that he's doing? And I'm so confused. Like, what is this shift? He's going from this liberal guy, him, Joe Rogan, all these people, they were all liberal guys who were rebels against the conservative, establishment initially. And then they now, because being a conservative is like the new rebel, which is such bullshit, right? They are back in that state of being because they think it's like the new rebellious thing to do. And then they're going to switch up. Did you see a bunch of people on TikTok were talking about Candace Owens switching up because now she's coming out against Trump or whatever? And people are like, yeah, because she's not getting paid. I mean, conservative numbers are down. Ben Shapiro's numbers are down. It's kind of interesting to see. But I think a part of it is that these donors are gone. I don't know, though, of course. But just watching it as a bystander, there's a shift in the air, girls. Winds in the east. Da, na, na, na. Like, there's definitely a shift happening. And the question is, what does it mean? I don't know. But I'm excited to see. That's what I'm saying, girl. You better stick around for the next 4 years because we have got to see this thing through, because I think it's going to be interesting. But it's going to be worth sticking around for. Chelsea, I was watching Chelsea on the Financial Diet put out a video yesterday, and she is like feeling it, okay? Now, look, I am practicing personally. Obviously, I'm meditating. I'm using like a level of, I think I'm trying to be a little bit, I don't want to say it this way, but I appreciate people are crying and they're really feeling it. I am trying to radically accept things. I'm in a very philosophical headspace, as you guys know. I mean, I have a whole framework over it. I'm ready. I'm stressed, but I'm ready. And I kind of want to get people closer to that. Not that I don't think you should cry. Not that I've cried over the stress. I've cried over the stress. But I think that it's important for us to remember, like, crying over the stress does not mean we're giving up. And I think it's nice to see Chelsea express herself and to feel an embodied experience. It's nice to see Kat Black express herself. But I also want to remind all of us not to feel crushed under the weight of this pressure, because it is so temporary. It always is temporary. All of life is temporary. Right? But please do not cry because of these men. You know what I'm saying? I already cried so much over Trump in 2016, and he's not getting one more single tear of mine. But I will cry for the people that he's hurting. And I will mourn for the people that have been killed because of him. I will mourn for the Palestinians killed because of Israeli forces. But I'm not crying because of Israel. I'm crying because Palestinians are dying. I'm not crying because Trump. I'm crying because people are being targeted by Trump. Very different. Very different. Nothing wrong with crying. Just make sure it's not Trump getting the benefit of those tears. Or this man here, this devil man right here. Talk about a devil in sheep's clothing. Men who look like Jesus.
They were established with the Associated Press. They were established with the Trusted News Initiative. There are organizations and institutions that ensure that the information you receive is pre-chewed and doused in fluoride or whatever temperate chemical is required to keep you docile. So in a sense, I recognize that I'm not really significant other than the accidents of my circumstance, that I happen to be on YouTube relatively early, that I happen to be talking about the coronavirus relatively early. Individuals like me, they come, they go, hedonistic people that appear in movies and comedians that are a bit outspoken, disposable. What's important is our ability to communicate openly and truthfully, and to be able to rely on principles like authenticity, integrity, and justice. Can we rely on them in the UK right now? Firstly, let's have a look at this woman, what's her name? Lucy Connolly, that's been jailed for a tweet. This is a response to a Joe.
No. Now this is Russell propaganda, okay? So if you want to check it out, this is on Russell Brand's channel. Okay, you guys can check that out if you want. But the rest of the show is like, the UK is horrible. I didn't watch it all, but like, this is how you know the UK is horrible. But I just wanted you guys to see how he explained his own situation and see how he sidestepped it. He distracted you. He was like, oh, I've been raping over here, but look over here, shiny. You know what I mean? He's distracting people to be like, but you don't even trust this government. Remember how they treated you? It's like, yeah. It's like, okay, relax. Like, look, as marginalized communities, as progressives, as people who believe in prison reform, we talk about constantly not trusting the government, not trusting the uniforms, not trusting the cops. And yet you have to be wise enough to know sometimes they get it right. But for all the times they get it wrong, it is like life and death for these people. The dilemma with Russell's, I don't think they got it wrong. But the issue is that, you know, he's going to convince you that everything they do is wrong, so he could never be guilty. And it's that whole thing. It's that whole reality, the dichotomy between the idea that the government can't be trusted, but sometimes it can be trusted. Hey, kind of like, you know, everybody else in your life. Mabel, thank you so much for the super chat. Guys, thank you so much for the super chats. It really does mean so much to me. It means so much as somebody who's here, you know, can't guarantee getting paid just because you're on stream. So I appreciate that so much. Tired of this dude, but keep it up. Aunt Brittany, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And look, like, I want to give people hope, and I want people to stay optimistic when times are hard, because like this is the time when we need to show up the most. It's easy to feel good when times are good. It's harder to do that when times are truly bad. And look, we are about to be hit. The economy is taking it, you know, it's tanking. Everything is very strange. Everything feels kind of crazy, but let the world be crazy. Don't become crazy with it. Okay? The world's always been kind of crazy. Doesn't mean we have to be crazy with it. But I know the temptation is there. I get it. I've been crazy with the world at one point in my life. Not anymore, girl. Not with these curls. Look at these curls. No. We have no time to be crazy when our curls are this pretty. You know what I mean? All right, let's move on. Let's talk about women. Women. Okay, this story's. I haven't watched this yet. I'm going to I'm going to 1.25 it. We might slow it down as we get closer to the end where all, you know, the juiciness comes out. I'm so sorry. Okay, so if you didn't see on TikTok, the story was going viral. Savannah Craven, who's interviewing on the streets, is attacked by a pro-abortion person. Now, the conversation is actually pretty lengthy, but the snippet that was going around TikTok was a woman punching her. Now, you might say to yourself, oh my God, what happened? Why would this happen? Let's watch and let's see what led up to the attack. And do we feel like it was reasonable, justified, expected, could have been predicted? Or do we feel like it was 100% unethical, never tolerated, this woman should be in jail? How do we feel about it, right? You know, I'm not a very big fan of violence. I understand, though, we are all living this biological experience. And I'm kind of going in, I am assuming, here's my prejudice, my bias, I am going in, assuming the pro-lifer instigated some form of anger in the person being interviewed, because I have been a pro-life marcher. So just for my credentials, I've been conservative. I've marched on Capitol, Sacramento. I have protested on behalf of aborted babies. I have done all that work. And then I switched over and I have protested and, spent a lot of my time advocating for Planned Parenthood. I am pro-choice. I think abortion is a medical basic right. I think people should have access to safe and accessible abortions. So I've been both pro-life and pro-choice. And I will say that I know when talking to pro-lifers, they use purposeful, cruel language to get a reaction. They are not the most grounded people. So I'm assuming going in that she did this on purpose to anger this woman, but let's see. Now, as we go through, make sure we deconstruct our own prejudice and bias, because girl, I could be very wrong. Maybe she's completely innocent and it was just, you know, a person who wanted to fight. Who knows? Let's see though. Okay, here we go.
You have a channel? Yeah, we're doing some interviews today. I love your skin tone too. Thank you. Such a good vibe. Of course. Well, awesome. So we're asking people's opinion today on Planned Parenthood. Are you familiar with them? Yes. Okay. And do you
look at the first of all, they started off so good. Look how nice that beginning was, right? Wow. They're complimenting each other, love each other. She's vibing, very good energy, right?
You know what they provide?
Yes. Abortions.
Yes.
Yes.
And STI testings and basic screenings and contraceptives and a lot of other. I've gone to Planned Parenthood many, many times in my life and I've never had an abortion. So they're not just people that provide abortions.
Okay.
Safe abortions.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you know any other services that they provide?
I know, like, to teens, if you're under 18, you could get like birth control, condoms, counseling. They offer a lot of, beneficial things that the youth really should use right now.
Okay. So you have a pretty positive view of Planned Parenthood.
I mean, majority. I don't know. Is this like a yes or no? Am I wrong?
It's your opinion.
But yeah, that is definitely my opinion. I feel like, especially as teens, people get caught up in things that they really don't want to commit to for their entire lives. So if you get caught up with the wrong guy, you think you're in love, and then now you stuck. Not stuck, but you're stuck with a baby for the rest of this time, literally the rest of their lives and your life, if you're that kind of mother, because some women just don't have it in them and they abandon them and abuse them and all kind of shit. And it's like, girl, just get rid of it if you know you're going to do that.
Oh, she has a very infectious, she's funny. I'm not gonna lie. I think she's kind of funny, but she's got an idea, but you can tell she's not probably very active in pro-choice activism. She's not probably dealing with organizations. So here we have an interviewer who, quote, knows better than the person they're interviewing, and they're going to get them in a gotcha, right? You can tell a gotcha is coming. This woman's coming in full faith, good faith, positive, optimistic. She's coming in just talking like a person, kind of like she's talking to a girlfriend. And you just know this interviewer, she's like, boom. You just know she's going to come out with something. Okay, let's see.
Get rid of them. Why not just give them to another family? That's good.
No, but exactly, even that. And that's another option that Planned Parenthood offers. So it's like, if you know that you are not the being who can provide for this child, then there are alternative options out there for you. So I think Planned Parenthood is a space that creates something that's safe for women, especially teens, Black and Latina teens, especially because it's free. You can call them and go to them. I know because I've worked with the Children's Aid Society for a long time. So
never mind. I got called out. She has worked with organizations, maybe not pro-choice, pro-life ones, maybe not Planned Parenthood, but look, she has done activism work. We love her.
Aligned with them. But yeah, I feel like if, as a woman, pro-choice is your...
Chat says, can we normalize calling pro-life people anti-choice? Feels better fitting. Yeah, I think that's absolutely correct. They are anti-choice. I'll try to change that. I should change that in my vocabulary because it's true. Pro-life is just better for clicks because everybody knows what it means. And that's a part of the dilemma is but anti-choice is true. They are anti-choice people. Yeah.
Option, because men, if they want to just get up and go, they can. Honestly,
they shouldn't. But...
They shouldn't. They never should. I grew up with two sets of grandparents and my parents, and please, everybody, lives happily ever after. But nobody else, not nobody else, but a lot of people do not experience the same kind of lifestyle or childhood that I grew up with, having two parents and grandparents and people to look up to and things like that. So I definitely understand why people do abort children. Don't have babies that you don't want. Don't have babies that men are telling you in front of your face that they do not want. I wish would stop doing that. It's a plan to...
Why don't they just stop having sex with people they don't want to have a child with?
That too. Or just don't have unprotected sex. Be smarter about your choices. Get on birth control. There's so many options, especially if you're a teenager, especially in New York City. Okay. Children's Aid Society, please reach out to them. They do.
I mean, she's giving, see? So they have a lot of overlap with their beliefs. We agree. We should be having sex with better people. We should be choosing better. We don't always. I've been there, but that's why I'm a big fan of birth control. That's why I'm a big fan of contraceptives, because sometimes while you're making bad choices, you don't have to make all the bad choices. You can make some of the bad choices, but not all the bad choices. Look, we can't avoid making bad choices because no one's perfect, but hopefully as we get older and wiser, we learn to make better choices. That's kind of the point of growing up, is that eventually you make better choices. Some people don't, but it is what it is.
Do a lot of free counseling, a lot of free clinical work, STD checks, abortion, all kind of things that you can go to, speak to someone about if you aren't really sure before making the final decision. But to me, it's always pro-choice, your body, your life, because that baby is gonna be a baby.
It's a baby.
Yeah, and you're gonna have that baby
person.
So yeah.
Well, do you know that Planned Parenthood gets nearly $700 million of our taxpayer money every year?
$700 million? I mean, honestly, I can't go against Planned Parenthood. I just can't.
Okay.
I just can't.
You think that's a lot of money?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's a lot of money, because if we're being honest, Elon Musk, he can literally stop world hunger twice.
Sure, but we're talking about Planned Parenthood, they could stop world hunger. I mean, $700 million a year. Imagine if you made $700 million a year, where you'd be at in a decade.
Wait, she got you with that Elon example. Look how she ignored that, and she said, but imagine if you made $700 million. Yeah, but Elon. No. See. This girl made a great argument, then she twisted around. She's like, but you could be rich. Ma'am?
$700 million for how many single mothers?
Of our money. But they're not giving it to single mothers, though. Yeah.
I mean, if we're going to just, single out where it is that our tax dollars go, then the police, respectfully. They beat on us I'm a black person.
Girl, I think she's picking up. I think she's starting to pick up on the, what's happening here. Because I felt the shift just now. Nelly with the super chat, thank you so much, says, I find it hilarious when red pillars become pro-choice. When they found out their pullout game is 100%, you would be shocked. You would not be shocked. How many Trump voting Republicans have had abortions for them or their kids? You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the thing. That's the thing. Like, the irony is, do as I say, not as I do. This is why I don't like people who don't walk the walk. Walk the walk, girl.
As black people, they beat on us, they murder us, abuse us even now with Trump pushing the immigration deportation. That's bull. Because there's people who are here who've been immigrants 55 years who work every single day, get up to provide for their families and haven't seen their own parents in 30 years. And now they come to this country, they build a better life. They can't even make it to go back home. Like now they're going to get deported. They got to leave their children. Like it's so extensive. There are so many other issues that we need to worry about as far as women's bodies and their rights. It's crazy. But as far as being a woman, in any city or any state or any country, you should have the right to decide what you want to do. I shouldn't be forced to raise anyone's child because the state feels like this is what's beneficial. Oh, we need to be producing more children. Oh, there's such a loss in reproduction. We don't have money. There's no finances.
There's no finances to have kids. Exactly. This is why I talked about my podcast yesterday, right? Like, the whether or not like you should have a baby or not isn't even about autistic or holistic. It's about economy. It's about resources. It's about the village. You know what I mean? We can't even pay for eggs and you're trying to come out here and have a baby. And I get it. Humans are going to human. We're an animal species. We procreate. But that's why we have to have a deeper and higher relationship with our existence, right? There is no money to have these babies. And a lot of those babies who conservatives say like, oh, just give them to other families. They don't end up with other families. They end up in the system. And then they end up being the people that you pick up and call criminals because they were raised by a system that never gave them a chance. We have to break a generational curse in our own families, in our own lives, and in our own systems. Our system is one big fat generational curse.
This is for reproduction. Like, this is why you go and you get an abortion because I don't have.
Just like how you said, we shouldn't be forced to raise other people's kids. We shouldn't be forced to pay for other people's abortions because half the country, they don't believe in abortions, whether that's for scientific reasons, for religious reasons. And, we should respect that, right? If you want to go get a procedure, then you should be able to pay for it. Do you agree?
Not necessarily.
Or somebody else should pay for it.
Now you put me up in the air because saying that we're paying for a procedure is like, you want to get a BBL and my taxpayer dollars are paying for your silicone. That's different.
How is it different?
As opposed to be me being a 14-year-old girl in the Bronx who's gone through any.
That is different. Love her. And listen, do you know why it's different? Because one is about morals and one's about ethics. And then I would actually advocate for a world that did actually, first of all, offer Medicare and actually did pay for people's like gender affirming care, even if it's casual plastic surgery. I actually am not opposed to living in a world where our taxpayers, where billionaires are actually paying their fair share and there is enough money to go around to give people the care that they need. Because the truth is most of us are not going to sit there and spend millions of dollars of taxpayer money. We're going to spend the care that we need and we're going to stop. And the few that do, they're not even worth counting, in my opinion. We act like people are using the system by getting abortions. Like, ooh, I'm going to get pregnant on purpose and have an abortion on purpose. Like, all of us as taxpayers pay for things we don't want. That is just the truth. All of us. Okay? We all pay for things we don't want to pay for. That's just the reality of being a part of a society. Okay? We are paying for Israel to genocide the Palestinians right now. You think that makes me feel fucking good? No. Do I have a choice? No. Not really. I mean, the choices are limited, right? And they happen. Just like pro-lifers, you are anti-choicers, you are paying for people's abortions and medical care, whether you like it or not. It's not about us having a perfect system. It's about us understanding that it's never going to be one. So this narrative that they're pushing is just like, we all have to suck it up. We all have to suck it up.
Any kind of molestation, rape, anything, you really don't know what people go through. And I need to abort this baby, and I don't have the right to, or I don't have the funds to, or I don't have the means to at all. Nowhere to go. There's no Planned Parenthood. There's no Medicaid. There's no anything that's beneficial to a younger youth, especially someone who's afraid to go to their parents. You can't go through your insurance. It's a lot. So to me, there's a difference in that, because taxpayer dollars pay for police, who are still corrupt. Pay for doctors, who should be paid more because they literally save lives every day.
Look at her. She's so smart. I underestimated her because at first she didn't sound like she was involved, but she's involved. Like I misjudged this woman initially because of the way that she was talking about Planned Parenthood, and she looked like she wasn't sure about them, but she knows a lot. Okay, she knows enough. She knows enough to have this conversation and be frustrated with the talking points and the bullshit of this pro-lifer, anti-choicers rhetoric. Like, no wonder she's frustrated, because this isn't a good faith conversation. She came in super good faith. She came in very good faith. Okay, and that's the problem with these people, is they're not coming in good faith. They want to get a clip, and look, they got a clip. That's why we're talking about her right now. You wanted a viral clip, you got one, girl. You got one. Hope it was worth it.
Should go to nurses who put their lives on the line in emergency rooms, on the streets, who are literally legally obligated to do so. It's like, why aren't they getting the money as opposed to us providing the money to the billions that we just supported in the Ukraine?
Yeah. Every Planned Parenthood.
Well, hold up. I really do think we should be supplying benefits to our allies. You know what I mean? I'm not anti-sending money to Ukraine against Russia. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, Russia is not a safe place for LGBT people. It's not a safe place in general. I feel for Russian people. Shout out to the Russian people. Shout out to you guys. You're great. But not a fan of Putin, not a fan of that government, right? I don't think it's wrong that we're supplying any kind of support to our allies. Now, Trump wants to live in a future where we have no allies. You want to talk about isolating ourselves? Girl.
Has donors as well, because they're a 501c3. So if you want to donate to Planned Parenthood, that's totally fine. You do that with your consent. But the issue that I think a lot of Americans have is that they don't believe in abortion, or they just don't believe.
Also, I don't believe that 50% of Americans don't believe in abortion. I don't buy that statistic. Where's that from?
Even paying for other people's medical business, and they're being forced to through our taxpayer dollars. So it's really interesting, because since 2010, prenatal care has been down for 80% since 2010 at Planned Parenthood. Adoption referrals. So this is why this is research straight from their yearly report.
Hold on. Chad says we should not be fans of Ukraine. Neither is Ukraine. We should not be in support of occupation. Look, I don't know every detail about what's happening in Ukraine and Russia and all that stuff, but I have very minimal understanding of what's happening. And again, just like I don't know if you're saying Ukraine is anti-LGBT and we shouldn't be supporting them. It's not about them being anti-LGBT. That wasn't the point of my sentence, right? A lot of Palestine isn't pro-LGBT. That doesn't mean they deserve to be genocided. I just want to make it abundantly clear, right? But Ukraine is an ally. They have their own situation. They have their own history for why they pulled off from Russia and sought independence and gave up their nuclear weapons and gave up any chance to defend themselves, right? So again, it's not about the governments, it's about the people. And right now, people are suffering. And I think it's bullshit. But all wars waged by men are bullshit. Just to be abundantly fucking clear. All wars are petty. All wars waged by men are bullshit. Always have been bullshit, always will be bullshit. And it's bullshit that people are dying for these wars.
Of 2022 to 2023, I believe it is. And so they're a 501c3. They have to tell us what they do every single year. So this is straight.
Which should be any union corporation. If we are paying tax dollars towards you, I need to know that you are doing the job and doing it correctly.
Right. But let me continue to tell you. So the STI testing and treatment down 15% since 2019. Client numbers down overall 34% since 2006.
Isn't that because people are having less sex, so they need to get tested less? Isn't that good?
Everybody has insurance. Everybody has insurance.
Donors down 21%.
I have almost never had health insurance. I've been basically without health insurance for so long as an independent contractor because like it's too expensive, even through like the Healthcare Act. Like it's too expensive. Like it's crazy the amount of, now I have healthcare because I'm living in Croatia and I pay them. Right. But like, okay, like what's your point?
Contraceptives down 44%, breast screenings, manual breast exams down over 80%, and you mentioned adoption. They commit 228 abortions for every one adoption referral.
Okay.
So why are they getting so much more money yet all of their services are?
Adoption is less ethical to me than abortion. Chess says Croatia was Yugoslavia. Yes, it was, girl, till 1989, baby, my birth year. Shout out. I think that's the year, right? The only reason I remembered it is because that's when I was born. Yeah, it is, girl. I live in a very unique place. My country, the country I live in, is very young, but very ancient buildings, ancient from Roman times. And yet, you know, do you still pay U.S. tax? Yes, I do, girl. Fuck yes, I do. I just called the IRS the other day. Had my 40-minute conversation with them. Okay. Yes, I do pay U.S. tax. Thank you. Undead Love, member for 6 months, says, like the stream, guys. Yes, please. Like the stream. Okay, let's go.
Going down.
The services are going down because people are afraid. Women,
what are they afraid of?
Women don't know. They don't know what they're exposing their bodies to. A lot of people, especially behind abortion, there's a stigma that if you get an abortion, you can never have a child again. So it's like a definitive decision. And that's
this is the whole. There's a chance that you can't because your uterus can be perforated, but their abortions are going up. So they used to have this slogan where they said safe, legal, and rare. That's what we want, safe, legal, and rare abortions, until it was exposed that a lot of these facilities were requiring abortion quotas. So the more abortions each facility did, the more like praise that they would get. They would get awards. And so it's really
you know, quotas are a part of every industry and they're bullshit across the board, from policing to medical care to insurance companies. Yeah, it's all bullshit. There shouldn't be quotas, but they're not making quotas to kill babies. They're making quotas to get funding. And either way, it's bullshit. I don't understand that, like, this is a pressure of every industry and every industry is corrupt in this way. This isn't special to like Planned Parenthood.
Interesting. That doesn't really make it seem like they want safe, legal, and rare abortions.
As a New Yorker and a woman, I will say, I have never gotten an email that was promoting an abortion, that was saying if you need this, it is safe. This is something that we all.
I've been to Planned Parenthood so many times in my life, and not once did abortion come up, because they don't come out. It's not like you go to the window and they're like, "Hi, would you like an abortion today?" It's not fucking McDonald's. You go up to the window and they say, "How can I help you today?" And you say, "Hi, I'm here for STI screening." They go, "Okay." Also, I'll be real with you. I have a lot of female friends. I have a lot of people who can get pregnant in my life. And I don't know very many people who have had abortions. And I know a lot of fucking people. Okay? Abortion's pretty fucking rare. Even if the numbers sound big, I need you to know how rare it is still. Because, like, most of us aren't even getting pregnant. Because most of us, at least in my circles, we either natural family planning, pull-out method, or we have contraceptives. You know what I mean? We don't have abortions. And there's nothing wrong with having had that abortion. But I'm just saying, like, even if I looked around at my, like, peer groups, all my feminist years of being in pro-choice circles, not very many abortions going around.
Offer as a city, as insurance, as any kind of taxpayer, as any kind of beneficiary of what it is that we're paying toward. So from there, it's like taxpayer money. We don't know where this money goes at all. Any of us, honestly, unless you're really into your politics and you're digging in the books. Like,
no, I'm into it because that's a lot of money being taken, and it looks like it's going toward abortions. Which, why, if they're called Planned Parenthood, why are they not making it so that you are planning your parenthood, not just then end?
They do. They have that as well. See, this woman did not walk up on this street interview understanding what was about to happen to her. So just FYI. And this is also what it's like to have a conversation with anyone in my family about pro-life stuff. It's frustrating. Chet says, why is adopting unethical? I'm just asking because I thought about doing it. Depending on the organization you go through, adoption is basically buying children. You are spending sometimes $30,000 to adopt a child whose parents wanted them but couldn't afford them. That's bullshit. Parents who want their kids but can't afford it should not be adopting out their kids. They should be getting funding to keep their kids, right? You have to look into the controversies with Korean babies, with Japanese babies and Chinese babies, and you need to see the way that the West was literally buying babies up from these parents who had no idea that they were literally selling their kids. They thought they were giving their kids up for temporary stays, or they thought they wanted their babies but gave them a better life. Like, adoption is fine on the surface, but make sure the organization you're going through isn't ones that are just simply selling children, right? And again, like, this is the problem with human beings. This is us as a species. This is what our nature has allowed us to do. We can either kidnap children and sell them, or we can fucking go to the moon. And we're all like, let's kidnap and sell babies. So just, like, be very cautious, be very careful. The whole promotion of adoption right? And you know what's ironic is a lot of these pro-lifers, these anti-choicers, will create a system that makes you feel like giving up your baby is the most ethical thing to do because you can't take care of your baby, instead of realizing that you keeping that baby probably would have been better, because the statistical probability of that baby being given up, they don't get adopted, they stay in the system, and they end up incarcerated. The probability of them ending up incarcerated is so much fucking higher. It is better for a baby to stay with parents who cannot like literally pay for them than to end up in a system that does not care about them anyways. Not to mention the rapes and molestations that occur in these facilities, right? So again, the irony, it's just the message we're sending to these people, like, you're giving your kid the best life possible. Don't let them convince you you're not. You are not giving your kid the best life. The best thing you can do for your kid is terminate their chances of coming into the universe preemptively, not having them at all, getting your tubes tied, having partners that agree with you, because this is very important, right? Or having that kid and just raising it in a home that isn't the most stable is better than putting it up for adoption. It is literally better. These pro-lifers, how many pro-lifers exist in the US? Why do we have 500,000 kids in foster care? Everybody talks about how you're giving your kid a chance at a better life. What's the better life? Tell me what it is, because I'm not seeing it.
Ending it with an abortion.
Baby, how much money is Planned Parenthood supposed to give you every month, every 2 months, every 3 months for a child? The child care tax doesn't even cover child care.
Well, they don't do that, but pregnancy resource centers do.
Absolutely not.
No, they do not. I went to a pregnancy resource center. I went to one when I was a pro-lifer coming into my liberal phase. And I was like, I want to help girls in crisis who are pregnant. And they were like, you have to pledge to Jesus Christ. You can never recommend an abortion. You can never talk about birth control. These centers are bullshit because they're like cultists. They're like religious people, right? They only love you if you follow the rules. They're never accepting you. They only accept you. That's what I'm saying. Be very cautious. This is why this Love is Blind season was so powerful. P.S. I'm editing the reunion. I was like really delayed this weekend. I was having like tech issues, but I'm coming through. BoJack Horseman in the next 24 hours, girls, get ready. Okay. But Love is Blind this season was so powerful because these political differences are like this. You cannot have this big of a political difference with your spouse and expect this marriage to work. Look how much they're fighting already. These women are getting a divorce by the end of this video. I can feel it. We also know what's coming because we saw the viral clip. Okay. So again, this isn't a joke. This isn't funny. This is serious. What you are promoting as pro-lifers and anti-choicers is incredibly dangerous to both the baby, the quality of their life, and the people who had them. Do I think you should have a child if you can't pay for it? No. But it is better for you to keep that baby in a home where you can't pay for it than to give it up to an adoption center that's going to put that baby at a higher probability rate of ending up in the system. I would rather you be a poor mother or poor parent than a person who thinks you're giving up your kid for a better life just to find out your kid ended up in prison because they were never loved or given security or adopted out to families who wanted them.
You can get a portion of the funding that you need. Similac a can is $43. $43 for Similac. In New York City on 126th Street, you're already paying $2,500 in rent to stay wherever you are. God forbid you don't have food stamps or WIC. Without any kind of governmental support,
she knows.
People would literally be like offing themselves because there's nothing else that you can do. Yeah. You can drop your child off at a fire safety. Just leave them.
Why don't we do that? Because there are over 2 million families waiting to adopt in America.
Oh, 2 million families out of 150,000 probably eligible, like people who could probably adopt. Oh, there are 2 million families who want to be adopted. Okay, well, figure it out then. But they don't. Because I don't think there are. I don't think there really is. And these families, the savior complex is disgusting. And especially if they're brown kids getting adopted to white families, the savior complex is gross, bro. Listen to me when I say this. When you have a child, you must accept that they will one day look at you and say, you fucked up this way. And the fact that adopted kids feel like they get less of a right to say that because these people say, but I rescued you. I saved you. 90% of people, in my opinion, aren't good enough to be parents. But good luck to you kids, you know? You're out here doing it. And that includes me, by the way. I'm a part of that 90%. Do you know why? Because I know better. I know that I don't even live up to my standard of what a good parent could be. If I got pregnant and had that baby, would I do my best? Yes. But I still wouldn't be up to standard. Doing my best does not mean I'm up to standard. And yes, there is compassion to be had here, that sometimes your best has to be good enough, but it doesn't mean that it really is. So when we talk about preventative care, and that's what abortion it is. Abortion is preventative care. It's the last step before preventative care. Okay, we have a lot of other steps we could do before that, but the conservatives are blocking those options as well. So that's the bullshit. These pro-lifers, these anti-choicers, they're blocking every preventative measure we have. And they know we're humans. They know we be fucking, right? They know we're horny little monkeys. They know we love it. We're animals on a planet. We're little Neanderthals. We just want to fuck everything we see. And they know that that's why they don't give us contraceptives. Because if we had contraceptives, we wouldn't be having these babies that they could argue about all day, and we wouldn't be having these abortions. You want to bring abortion rates down? Give people contraceptives. Because they know we're going to have those babies. They're pro-birthers. They're not even pro-lifers. They just want your babies. That's why they're so desperate for you to have that child. So they can put them to work, so they can put them in prisons, so they could pay for their, basically slave labor. Let's be so for real that so many of the people in jail right now aren't even supposed to be there. They're innocent, and yet they're there. And what are they doing all day? Cleaning up your streets, cleaning up your highways, making what, like 25 cents to hopefully use to buy what? Ramen? Like, please be so fucking for real right now. Human beings, in my opinion, are capable of doing so many good things, but we're limited because we're greedy and selfish and uneducated. We're also born into bubbles that tell us we know everything about the existence, right? We know God exists, and we know this is the answer, and we know what our meaning is. And the problem is like we are living on a planet that's shared, and we are sharing it with people who just have a very different relationship with reality than we do. Literal reality. We are disputing whether or not people have the right to identify with their felt gender against people who believe a God exists outside of their perception. Girl, we are not talking about the same thing.
How many people can you think, or are you going to assume?
Exactly. Chat says another reason not to treat criminals like trash. You're treating the innocent people in prison like trash. Well, that's the irony of this idea of like, well, if they got arrested, they must have done something. What are you, 5 years old? It's like people are 5 years old and they're not realizing like innocent people are in prison all the time. People are sitting in jail just because they simply can't pay their way out of it. They haven't been convicted of a crime. They could get out if they could pay for it. Money is privilege because money gives you access. It also gives you opportunity. It makes you're treated better when you have it. Everything about it is real. That's why I don't want you to stop making your money and getting that bag, because at the end of the day, girl, it's very important. Guys, please like the stream so I can get my bag, okay? But it is really important in a world that is very unfair. And I know if you're neurodivergent, I saw this autistic TikTok where she's like, my worst trait as an autistic person is I really want the world to be fair. And I'm like, that is the worst part about being autistic. The worst part about being neurodivergent is you actually physically feel the burden of realizing the world will never be fair. But instead of becoming a sociopath that pushes down all our feelings, let's radically accept that we're animals on a planet evolved, most likely. And it is what it is, and we do the best anyways. We make the world a better place anyways. We make our life better anyways. Because we didn't choose to be here. But that doesn't mean we can't do something now with that. We can do so much. Look at this lady here. She obviously knows her stuff. She's out here. She's doing it. She's advocating. Let's see how we feel by the end of the video, but
Would literally abandon their children with no repercussions from the state?
No, it's called safe haven baby boxes. We're at a fire station or hospital. You can leave your baby and the mother doesn't have to do anything with it. But that's better than killing her baby through abortion, right?
No, ma'am.
It's not better to give your baby up to a family who wants them instead of killing them?
No, ma'am. I've seen so many stories and countless, literally like countless stories. My grandmother used to teach health and safety classes for people who wanted to become daycare providers. And we've seen so many instances where it's just, I could love you today, I love you to death, you're my baby. But as a teen mom, as a mom who's on her own, you have no support. You constantly have to provide. You're here day to day, day in out. It's crying, it's screaming, it's crying. You have nowhere to turn to. Now I stand you up and I shake you and I kill you. when I could have just not had you in the first place because it was never my plan.
You think that teen moms who struggle will end up killing their children after they're born?
Girl.
I'm trying to follow along.
Girl. See? This, by the way, this is what it's like to talk to my pro-life family. It is very aggravating. And then they push your buttons and they say the most outrageous shit for so long that you're like, girl? And then they go, see, this is why liberals can never have conversations. You guys get so emotional because you're being so fucked up right now. You're being so fucked up.
Along with your story
I'm
here.
Saying that there's a higher percentage of people who murder their children on accident out of frustration because they don't have the support.
This is why I need people to be educated and curious. There are so many preventable deaths. If we really wanted to prevent deaths, we would understand that having a baby is a chemical shift in the brain, that your body is really going through it, that so many of the deaths you see of mothers going through psychosis, killing their children after having them is a medical emergency. That mothers will say, I can't have these babies are at risk, please take my babies away from me. And people will be like, you're fine, you're okay, we prayed for you. And then when they kill their children, you blame them instead of understanding like they were trying to get help because you keep treating them like, oh, it's so normal to have a baby. We are nature, we are animals. Animals eat their babies all the time. We need to make sure that we are putting people in positions to harm reduce. And sometimes that harm reduction looks like an abortion. Sometimes that harm reduction looks like sterilization. Sometimes, but it's always about the person choosing, not about the government coming in, but about the individuals making a choice about their body and their health, right? And I think it takes a very wise and educated person to even have these conversations. Listen, you know, I feel this way about being autistic. Sometimes I talk to my autistic friends and we talk about our struggles. And I'm like, I would never tell the internet this because I think sharing this with the internet, like they're not going to get it and it's not a safe space. I don't think you should share. I think it's very complicated to share the nuance of autistic struggle without people taking it out of context and twisting it just like this woman is doing here because they're not willing to hear you. They're not really seeing the situation for what it is, right? And then it becomes dangerous. You become a target. And so I think that's the thing that people don't understand. That's why people mask. It's why it's unsafe. And look, you can keep saying, you can keep screaming, we shouldn't have to mask. Girl, we shouldn't have to do a lot of things, but here we are. All right? Here we are, girl. You know what I'm saying?
Especially in communities like this where there's no funding, where there's no programs, where we don't have
shaken baby syndrome, where they shake their baby.
It could be SIDS, but SIDS still also applies to you even laying your baby down on their back and they turn over the wrong direction. They will literally pass away.
Well, yeah, but that's like a death that, you know, was going
it was
to, is not, it was
not
but what is preventable
is death. SIDS is not preventable.
Well, actually a large percentage of the children who die from SIDS had a vaccine the same day. So that
Girl. I did not see that coming. I'm shook. I have never heard somebody say that about SIDS before. Girl, SIDS is the most terrifying, destroying thing a couple or a parent or a person can go through. I can't believe she just said that. No empathy, dude. Bro, she's so fucking cruel. She's so fucking cruel. That is the most cruel thing I've ever heard said out loud. SIDS, if you've ever known anyone who experienced it, it is a devastating because they find every reason to blame themselves. You don't blame yourself. It's girl, nature made a decision and you are here to suffer through it. But like, SIDS is not your fault. Oh my God. Oh my God. Bro. Ooh. Okay, breathe. Ready? It's going to get worse. It's going to get worse, guys. This conversation is going to get worse. Okay.
That's another thing. That's a whole other story.
That's a whole other topic with the vaccine.
But I will say to you, like
sudden infant death syndrome, and there have been over 80% of infants who have passed away from it, and it's simply from not laying your baby on their back to sleep.
And that's horrible. But I mean, 1 million babies are also dying a year from abortion.
Again, don't know that. You can die. What's the percentage of women dying from birth for children that they don't even want, or the men don't even want, who are already refusing?
Did you guys hear about the influencer that just died? complications with giving birth. America does not have a good reputation. You know why? Because dollar bills. We're not even having birth in the most natural or healthy way for us. We're literally being mistreated in hospitals. That's why you have to have a good relationship with your doctor. That's why you have to find a hospital that coincides with your belief systems to help you have a natural and reasonable birth, right? Because there are ways, not natural meaning not epidural, but natural meaning the way we sit, the way we have the baby physically. I don't mean natural like anti-epidural or something. That sounded like a dog whistle, but I didn't mean it to. Because epidurals are fine. But like it's you can have your baby in so many other healthier ways that people like aren't having them because of the way the hospitals do things or the way the doctors. It's ridiculous. Like all of this is a rabbit hole. If you've ever gone down this like rabbit hole, you're like, oh my gosh, ask yourself. Just like traditions in your family, where do traditions start? If you do something because of the way your grandma did it, ask yourself why your grandma did it. If we do things now, you should ask yourself, why do we even do this? Why can't we change the construct? Why can't we change the tradition? I love tradition, but I also am exhausted by it as well because tradition just sounds like stagnation to me. There are a lot of things that are universally good for us that don't have to be connected to tradition, but can be connected as things that universally, stand the test of time, right? So I think sometimes we have to be very cautious around why we do what we do.
To provide for them prior to them even being born. So now what?
It doesn't matter if they're
a single mom or put my body through this entirely different experience to at the end of it give them up and go home like nothing ever happened. That doesn't make sense to me. As opposed to you being put to sleep, boop boop, take the baby out. It's like you start over.
You don't, because we see post-abortive women and how they deal with abortion, and their chance of turning toward drugs and alcohol skyrockets. They have problems.
What percentage is that?
No.
What percent?
No. That is, where do you get that number from? And also, just FYI, you're allowed to feel sad about your abortion. You're allowed to mourn the life that would have been, okay? That was and is no longer. You're allowed to feel bad that you had to have that abortion. And it can still be the best decision you ever made. Because it's about harm reduction. Now, because I think we're animals on a planet, I think like abortion makes sense, especially again, don't trust Google. When you Google things, man, Google is really trying to fuck with us. Like Google is so fucked up. Like if you Google like what a 10-week baby looks like, it will literally show you like a 9-month baby being like, like, you know what I mean? Don't pay attention to that. Okay. It is very hard to recognize or understand like how and what is happening to our bodies when we are pregnant. Like I know so many pro-lifers who think like the morning after pill is an abortion because they think you get pregnant the moment you have sex. They think you get pregnant the moment he comes inside you or whoever comes inside you. And that's the problem. Like, that's not how it works. But if you think that's how it works, then you do think the morning after pill is abortion.
Percentages
well, I don't have the exact percentage, but I believe it goes up 150%.
And booty, girl. And you had the facts.
Do you know what happens in an abortion?
Yes.
What happens in an abortion?
They literally suck the life out of you. They're going to take the whole baby out. And as they should, because I shouldn't be a taxpayer paying child support and food stamps and WIC for
you should be a taxpayer paying.
No. Now she's getting, stop it. The girl is getting upset because this talking point gets us upset. But she's not literally saying you should take a 9-month-old baby and suck it out of the womb. She's imagining what we all know to be true is the baby's about this fucking big. It's a teeny tiny little bean and it's so precious and so beautiful and it's just not its time. Thank you for your service. It's not your time, sis. You know what I'm saying? Like that is what she's talking about. But now these pro-lifers are going to twist it. And I know this when I get angry, when I'm talking to people and I'm not like in my best headspace, I will be like, yes, kill the babies, kill them all. But that's not what we mean. That's not what we mean because she's using emotional language to get her upset. She's using emotional language back. We'll be like, yeetus the fetus. Obviously we're memeing. The truth is that we know for a fact we're dealing with a baby in development. Okay, we're dealing with a little babino, and that little babino is not going to feel the pain, is not going to know the difference. And at the end of the day, it doesn't have enough awareness for it to be unethical to terminate that pregnancy at that particular stage. And of course, all medical care is necessary, even with late stage abortion, which is a very rare and doesn't even make sense. Abortion as a word is misunderstood by the masses because even when you have a stillbirth, it can get documented as an abortion, but we know like a stillbirth isn't the abortion that these pro-lifers are thinking about, these anti-choicers are thinking about, right? Okay. So again, we need to remember that we're dealing with human beings who are like, she's in her feels because this woman is using charged language to make her feel bad to get a clip.
For abortions? Exactly. But as for a woman who didn't want the baby in the first place, that doesn't make sense to me. If you told me from the get-go, I can't do this. I don't have the funds.
Hold on. Discord said, I'm sorry, but I shouldn't be paying for WIC or food stamps and taxes for a baby you chose to have is such a terrible argument. I don't think you can be pro-choice and think this way. We shouldn't, as a society, have to be supporting people the way we do in a reality where we can do a lot of preventable care and care for the people who actually, like, okay, the argument is, this is the real argument. If we were preventative and educated, we would have less people to support and we wouldn't feel so burdened by supporting them. We only feel burdened by supporting them because we're not doing enough preventative care to not feel overwhelmed with the amount of support people need. If we truly supported people, okay, but we can't because you're animals on a planet. Like, I don't think people understand this. You can't save society from itself. We are a reflection of people as a whole. We are people. And because we're flawed as creatures, because of the way that we are, we can't guarantee you will be a good parent because most people aren't even, I mean, they're not even stable in their own lives. So again, this isn't a fixable problem. This is a problem you chip away slowly over time, person to person, as you reevaluate how we approach these topics. There are no solutions to these problems. They are because the solutions don't account for how humans operate as people. We're not robots. We're animals. And there's a lot that goes into our biological experience. And so you have to do it. You have to break the generational curse. We all have to work on breaking those generational curses. And then that will be reflected in the system. And then the system takes advantage of the fact that you're not going to break that generational curse. The system takes advantage of the fact that we're uneducated. The system takes advantage of the fact that they also think we're animals on a planet and they're like, fuck it, we're going to have a good time and then we're going to peace out, right? I don't think I should be having to pay for people's bad decisions and their irresponsible decisions, but I'm happy to pay for it because I know that at the end of the day, like, humans are going to human. I don't want to do it, but it is what it is. Okay? We all have to pay for things we don't want to pay for. But we have to learn how to put preventable measures. But that's the problem. Pro-lifers and pro-choicers or anti-choicers, they are not about preventative work. They're just about punishing you for being a person. I never want to punish you for being a person. You know, I don't want to punish you for being a person. And I think we have enough money and wealth and resources around the world globally to help people. Help people. I do. I think we have it. I think we could do it. But we can do it in the same way that everyone can learn the same language, right? I remember getting into this very high argument with a bunch of neurodivergents where I was like, well, if everyone could learn this particular form of sign language, we could all talk to each other no matter where we were in the globe. And they're like, Brittany, that could never happen. I was like, well, it's just not probable. Just in the same way that it's not probable to save the world, it doesn't mean it's not possible. It's just not probable. It's not probable. We're not going to fix these like large issue solutions because we are not engaging with the fact that this is our nature. We keep thinking we're above nature. We're not. Everyone thinks they all have this amazing access to free will and this great ability to make great, decisions in their life. And everyone thinks like, oh, everyone is so smart. And, you're just a person existing. You're as reliable as a golden retriever. You just think you're more reliable because like you bark when people say bark and you shake hands when people put their hand out.
I make $20 an hour in McDonald's, and I live with my mother, and I'm pregnant with twins, and the father told me he doesn't want them.
Why is that the baby's fault?
Exactly my point. You think I should still follow through with this pregnancy?
Yes.
Why?
Because that baby has a life.
That's dumb. Bring 2 more kids into this world that nobody wants.
I want
that
them.
Are 80%. How? You gonna take everybody's baby?
Yes,
that's
I will.
80% baby.
Listen to that girl. Yeah, I'll take all your babies. Girl, your kids are definitely going to therapy when they get older, and half your kids are definitely going to be like, we're not going to visit mom this Christmas. Okay? You can talk about that all you want. Like, yes, I'll take their babies. I'll take all your babies. Girl.
That are 80% more likely to get put into the system, molested.
Where is that statistic from?
Girl. When no parent.
Oh, I like how she gave so many statistics. And she, girl, I'm gonna.
Parents, what do you think the likeliness is of you being molested? Let's Google that right now. Literally, because your stats
that's
aren't
not
making
the
sense.
fault of pro-lifers, though. That's the fault
not
of
the
people
fault.
that are
That's the fault
molesters.
of people who are not pro-life. That's the
people that are not
who
pro-life
online.
want abortions.
Exactly. That's the people who are pro-life, because you're
How?
gonna say, I don't
want people
I don't
molested.
give a fuck about you before you're here. So why would I give a fuck about you when you're born?
I care about both.
Because 98% of the time.
I think the problem is like you can. Everyone's. I hate this conversation. I hate that this is how people have conversations. None of this is a real conversation. They're not listening. They're not really hearing each other. They're just trying to get each other. One is frustrated because she came in so good faith. One is trying to get her, but you're not being serious. You're not having a real conversation. Like, you're not having a real conversation about the topic. You're not actually trying to save lives or help people. Because again, in the pro-life, anti-choice world, there is no option. You only have one option. It's the pro-birth option. So you're not being serious about any conversation. And then the other girl, she should have left 10 minutes ago, but she's still engaging because now she's in it, right? She's in it. But the truth is like the people who are going to see her go viral, they're not going to care about her or her argumentation or where she's coming from or why she's saying what she's saying. We can talk all day about how parents love their kids, but then why are they raping them? All day about how parents love their kids, then why are you rejecting them? How parents love their kids, then why are you beating them? The same parents who say, I love you, and I think you probably do feel like you love your child, are sitting there, 6'2", with muscular arms, slapping the fuck out of a kid because you think that's what discipline is. I don't know. But bell hooks would question if love exists and abuse is present. And then the pro-lifers, the anti-choicers will say, well, how is it killing a baby any better? Are you killing a baby if you have an abortion? Are you ending a human life and process at a time in which it's appropriate to save the life of the person who's very aware that they're here? There's difference. There is a difference. And the fact that we're not willing to talk about that difference is the problem. There is a difference between taking a morning after pill and having an abortion. These things are all different. And I feel like until we can really have a big conversation about the differences, like these are not real conversations. Okay? These are not actual conversations. And that's why the world is a reflection of us as a whole, because we cannot tell the difference between a 10-week fetus and a Palestinian child. Because at the end of the day, to some people, not only are they very different, but they're very much the same. And spiritually, matter of fact, they are definitely two different lives. It's just one should take precedent. One should take priority. And we can't agree on that. We can't agree on whose life should take priority because we're all coming from different perspectives, limited by our biological experience. It is what it is.
It's the male who's gonna say, we never decided this was never on my plate.
You decided it when you laid down and had sex.
You're gonna turn around and decide, I'm gonna have this baby after this man already told you, I don't want this baby, I don't wanna be with you, I'm not gonna provide, and you proceeded, now he looks bad?
Yeah, so my dad didn't want me, but my mom didn't kill me just because my dad didn't want me.
But and that's her choice.
No, it wasn't her choice.
That is
because
her
it's
choice.
that was my body inside of her body.
Abortion.
It wouldn't have been safe because I would have died. How is an abortion safe if a baby dies?
An embryo.
Yeah, an embryo of what?
Of nothing, really.
Of a human.
No,
it's just a stage of human development.
You do not even have any kind of.
I agree with her. It is a stage of human development, and there's nothing unethical with ending that stage of development. Because it's developing. It's like when your program is rebooting on your computer and you exit out before it reaches 100%. It's like when you take the cake out of the oven before it's like fully formed. It's not a cake yet. I mean, it's going to be a cake, and I'm mad you ruined my cake, as Bill Burr would say. But it's not really a cake yet. And you know it's not a cake yet. But you also call it a cake because it is going to be a cake. But it's not technically a cake. It's batter. You know what I'm saying?
have limbs yet. You don't even feel physical.
Some people
pain
that are
if you go
born
in the
don't
right
have limbs.
direction.
Some people that are born are paralyzed.
You have to know what you're doing. You need to just protect yourself if you can. And honestly, don't have babies with people who don't want to have babies with you. Because people.
But when you're pregnant, you already have a baby.
That you need to be pro-life, and you don't. Don't ever sit here and lock yourself down with a man who already told you he doesn't want to be with you. He doesn't.
I agree with you.
I'm not disagreeing with you either. I understand.
You don't get to kill the baby just because their dad didn't want them. Should we kill the kids in foster care? And
why not?
Why? No. Now she's in her emotions, and she's not actually making that argument. She is, I'm going to use this word, but I don't mean it medically. She's biologically triggered. She's having like an emotional response to the conversation because it's not a safe space. She does not mean this. Because because I've had enough debates in my life to know people don't mean this. They say it when they're under, like, they're frustrated, right? It's so bad faith on the other point that you become bad faith in your argument. So I don't believe she means this.
Not, if that's the case.
We should kill the kids in foster care that aren't wanted.
Who's going to take care of them? I need to know the percentage of people who take children from foster care.
What she's thinking now is she's still thinking about abortion. So the interviewer thinks, okay, we're on the same page. We're going to kill babies in foster care. But I would bet that this woman is now thinking about abortion. She's not thinking about literal babies in foster care. She's still thinking about abortion. But now the woman in the blue dress is going to play this whole game about how she wants to kill babies in foster care. But that's not how human brains work. Human brains do not work this way. I really think like this is I've been through this. This is why I don't do debates anymore on panels, because the debate makes you crazy. It makes you like start arguing things you don't even believe in because the person is arguing things that are so bad faith.
And abuse them and molest them, who makes them like personal slaves.
We should just kill them.
Statistics before you come to me talking about pro-life.
We should kill the victims of molestation.
I think.
See how she's doing that? Oh, so we should kill the victims of molestation. I hate that. This is so bad faith. This is so cruel. It's so cruel that a woman put another woman in this position to have this reaction. And it's so cruel that we're not understanding, like, this is so human. This is what happens to a lot of us. I hate this.
What does this have to do with molestation?
You just mentioned people molesting children. We should kill the kids in foster care is what you said.
What I'm saying is in general, overall. If I don't want to have a baby, I should have the choice to.
Just don't have sex then. Just don't have sex.
That's not even logical.
It is. It is.
Who are you, Nancy?
I found out.
You do.
Okay.
It does, because even as teens, people explore. And it's like, as funny as you want to be, people should still have the choice. I don't give a if it's, oh, no. Oh.
Yeah, exactly. Chad says the worst part is that she's acting non-emotional but saying inflammatory words to the other woman, so the other woman looks crazy and she looks illogical. It's exactly the debate tactic. The best thing to do when people are getting louder is to get quieter. You automatically look like you're the logical one. You automatically look like you've won the debate. I hate it. Like, it is true though. That's 100% a tactic. This is a tactic by the woman in the blue dress. Okay, ready?
Oh, it was a mistake today. Oh my God.
Do you believe in God? Do you believe in God? Do you believe in God?
Yes.
Do you believe God makes mistakes?
Yes.
He does?
Of course. Everybody makes mistakes.
But God is perfect. Are you a Christian?
I never said that.
Are you a Christian?
I would never say that.
Are you a Christian?
My family's Christian.
So you are not a Christian?
I guess.
You guess what?
Based off of what's going on and I guess my lineage is Christian. I wouldn't say that my full belief is a Christian belief. There's no abortion. You have to stay married. If you're pregnant with that man, you have to be married. There's so many like restrictions and constrictions when it comes to religion.
There's a reason for that because it protects people.
But that's dumb as because religion is all hearsay, baby. All you listening to is a Bible that somebody else told you, somebody else wrote.
Nobody told me. I've literally encountered God.
So you spoke to God and he told you everything in the Bible. Shut the fuck up.
He first spoke to me.
You sound dumb as fuck. Listen, there's a thing called cosmopolitanism, which literally is saying there's this one big glorious story that combines all of the religions. Because if you read the Bible, you can search into Buddhism, being a Muslim, anything that you need. They all kind of provide the same story in a different version, but it's still all hearsay. It's all hearsay. It's all, my auntie told me.
My auntie didn't tell me.
My auntie told me. You think these biblical writings are...
I'm sorry, just to make it a point, this is my frustration, is that people get to say they witnessed God, they had a relationship with God, I've met God, and they're the ones we have to contend with. We have to, and 80% of the world believes in religion, guys. Religion really is a problem. It is a deep part of our evolutionary process. We really created the myth of God to give us like some sense of moving forward. But there's nothing wrong with being a faith person, but ultimately, if you think you are communing with God, you're having a relationship with a God, and so therefore you get to dictate everyone else's life, like this is the reality a lot of us have to contend with. When I say the world's a reflection of us as a whole, I accept that I'm not there. I accept, right, that I am not in that bubble anymore where I believe in a God, but I exist on a planet where most people do. And I accept that when I die, most people will still be believing in God. And so I do my best with what I can in that framework. But like, this is why I don't have religious friends. That's why I don't really have even conservative friends, right? Like, this is why I don't, like, I have family members. Those are different. But like, when I make new friends, I'm very good at like cutting off new people from my life, like very fast. Like, I don't want a diverse friend group of people. Like, I work in diversity for my job. Like, my diverse friend group is not going to also include people that are pro-Israel or people that are pro-Trump or people that are like, I don't need chosen friends who, when I interact with them, this is what it feels like. Because like, I don't need that. You know, I'm good though. But I like diversity of culture. I like diversity of thought, as long as your culture also includes other people getting to live how they want. But you can't have diversity. You can't believe in diversity and then believe that everyone should be like you. Okay? In my world, religious people get to exist, but in their world, I don't. And that's the problem, right?
Are all just what? Off the brick? Like, you can't be that naive. There are over 40 men that actually wrote the Bible.
Oh my God, you one of those.
That's just the history. That's just the history of Jesus Christ and the Bible.
It's not. We started from Pangea.
So what does the Bible say about human life?
Big Bang Theory. Our entire life is science and math, and I think you're an idiot if you don't think it is.
So you went from saying that my outfit was really cute to saying I'm an effing idiot. That's so mean.
But I think that your view is very obstructed, and I think that you just don't understand the magnitude of having a child.
Yeah, well, I'm not the one who admitted they would be okay with killing babies in foster care and killing children that have been abused.
That's not the point. What I'm saying.
That's really.
Oh God, it scared me. It came out of nowhere, bro. We're gonna rewind it. Came out of nowhere.
I'm not the one who admitted they would be okay with killing babies in foster care and killing children that have been abused.
That's not the point. What I'm saying.
That's really.
What's wrong with you?
Oh my God.
She attacked my wife.
Your wife just attacked me.
I don't know why it's muted. I don't know why he muted this part.
She just punched me in the face. We were just doing a street interview with my camera and everything was fine for over 20 minutes or however long we were filming, and then she just punched me in the face. Oh my God.
Oh damn! She got fucked up! Oh damn! She got fucked up! Oh my God! Oh my God!
She just punched me in the face. We were just doing a street interview with my camera and everything was fine for over 20 minutes or however long we were filming, and then she just punched me in the face.
Oh, whoa! Damn! 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 Okay, well, first of all, everything was not fine leading up into this moment. The reading the room she must be autistic because she was not reading the signs. Everything was escalating because she was escalating. Okay, so I don't know what that was about. Violence is almost never the answer. And in this instance, it was very inappropriate to hit this woman. I don't condone it. I don't feel bad about it, but I don't condone it. Because I think this woman doesn't deserve to go to prison and she should not have it on her record. And she deserves a good life because she seems like a good person who is really having a biological moment. Because I have, as a person who has a pro-life family, have wanted to kill myself because of the way they talk to you. So she lashed out with a punch. I don't even think it was premeditated. I think it was completely emotional. Right? But let me tell you, I'm on the other side. I've never hit anyone, but I've wanted to kill myself because of the way you all talk to people. The way these people dehumanize you and talk to you and tear you apart and sit there and feel holier than thou. You make life worse for other people while thinking you were trying to make the world better. This woman should not have hit this woman. This is not the answer. This is the reality of what it's like to be on a planet with people. We are having a biological experience. And the fact that you couldn't understand that it was escalating is shocking to me, even though I think you did. I think you are grateful for this clip. I think you wanted that clip. And I think you're glad she hit you. Because I think you were thinking, this is going to go viral. And it did, girl. Congratulations. Now we've all seen your face. Okay? But it feels very much like the boys who do in real life streams, IRL streams, and they bother the public, they harass the public, and then they wonder why the public hits back. Okay? It really sucks that the public has to do so much to be the bigger person, but we do. We have to continue to be the bigger people. The public has to continue to be bigger people. We have to. As adults in the community, we have to be the bigger people. I do think, though, we should have conversations about how these street interviews, can be very harassing to the public. Okay? We can't keep harassing the public this way. So I won't condone the violence. And though I don't feel bad for her, okay, I don't think that other woman, it's same thing with Luigi. I don't feel bad for the guy Luigi killed, but I don't think that was the right answer. And I don't think that was worth throwing away Luigi's life. For what? Like, why is this worth throwing your life away? But I don't think that these decisions are made because we're like perfectly logical creatures. I don't feel bad for that man who got killed. I don't feel bad for this woman who got punched. I feel bad for the fact that people get to a point where they think this is the only action they can take. I feel bad that woman who hit her felt like this was her only option. I feel bad that Luigi felt like this was his only option. We need to give people better options. You want to talk about preventing violence? This woman did none of the preventative care. The woman in the blue dress. She wants to know how people get to the point where the only other choice they have is violence. You help put people in those positions. Stop putting people in positions where their only reaction after being pushed into a corner feels like violence. And at the same time, without victim blaming, okay? This woman should never have been punched. We should never have been put in a position where this woman got punched. In the same way, we shouldn't be in positions where we have to take people's lives. Humans are going to human, I guess, you know? What do you guys think? Yeah, membership for 22 months. Let's go, girl. Says, absolutely. Like the stream, y'all. Like the stream, y'all. Let me get that bag. As we all should get that bag, you know? Discord said, I feel iffy about that. I don't think she should be in jail either, but punching someone in the context, even out of a biological experience, is just way out of line. Well, of course it's out of line. It doesn't, I'm just explaining why it happened. She should get in trouble. You can't just go around punching people. She should get in trouble. And the trouble should be reasonable. And the trouble should be, you know, something that makes sense. Right? I agree. We don't want to live in a society where people are just out here punching each other. But I also think we need to pay attention to the fact that, like, this woman was putting her in a corner in a way that we don't understand because we're not ready to have those real conversations. But psychologically, it feels like a corner. It feels like you are talking to a crazy person who feels indignant, who's sitting on their molehill of virtue signaling. And it feels like they are dehumanizing you and objectifying you and making you feel like you were cornered like an animal. Because we are animals. We are animals on a planet. And so for the audacity of this blue-dressed woman to sit there and tell us she's talked to God, she's communed with God. Okay, is this godly behavior? Is this what God told you to do with your life? Get on the street and harass women who are suffering, who are helping their underprivileged communities? Is this what God told you to do? Your God fucking sucks. Your God is a piece of shit. Because this is piece of shit behavior. It is shitty behavior to get on the street and to accuse people of wanting to murder babies when you know that's not what they're doing. Pro-choices aren't interested in murdering babies. They're not having the same reaction or relationship to life that you are having. And pro-lifers are some of the most violent and baby-killing people I've ever seen in my life. They just kill babies that are in other countries and call it justified. Okay. But this is a perfect example of humans gonna human. Okay, this is the perfect example of humans gonna human. I really wish that woman had stopped talking to her, because that woman has so many other things she could do with her life that I think will be so much better for her. And this woman here in the blue dress, she could be doing so many other things with her life. But instead, she's on the street having bad faith conversations with people in vulnerable situations who are looking for compassion and care. And instead, she sits there and pushes their buttons so she can get a viral moment. Congratulations on getting your viral moment. Shameful, shameful, shameful. All right, girls, we did it. That's what I had planned for us today. That's our stream for today. I'm probably going to go ahead and clip these segments for people who don't want to sit through the stream but still want to hear me talk about it, because we need to have these conversations more. We need to have these really real conversations. I'm telling you right now, human beings are not perfect creatures. We are deeply flawed. And when given the right opportunities, we'll excel. And when pushed into a corner, we will punch back. Even when it's not justified. We are having a real experience. And we are treating it like so flippantly. And like we know everything about it. We're so arrogant as a species to think we know everything about what it means to be a person. Chat says, Blue Dress Lady tweeted something like, of course, pro-choicers are violent. The only thing they know is violence, killing, abuse, or something like that. That's every pro-lifer I've ever talked to. Every conservative in my family will push your buttons, will trigger you, and then be like, see, this is why liberals can't have logical conversations. Yeah, they're deeply fucked up, but they really think they're doing really good things. But they are deeply fucked up. Like, they deeply will push you into a corner. It's like they will say every cruel, horrible thing to you. And then when you react, they're like, whoa, why are you reacting like that? Yeah. Yeah. And right now, a majority of the world probably agrees with that mindset. But not for long and not always. But globally, we are in a shift, and I would like us to all be heading in a more positive and optimistic direction. I think globally, everyone is suffering. Everyone feels stagnant. Everyone feels heavy. Everything feels like it's never going to get better. But we know from world history, it does get better. But it will always be suffering. Existence is suffering. That's why we have to learn to suffer wisely. With peace and love, I know people don't understand, but it really is everything they've always told us. It's about balance. Every answer to the universe is there. We just have to discover it. And everything we need to know about our place in the universe, I think has already really been discovered. But I think we as individuals have to go discover it for ourselves. They've always said it's about balance. It's about nonviolence. It's about harmony and community. It's about accepting that sometimes life is about making bad decisions, right? But sometimes it's about letting go of thinking you had control over it in the first place. And living your day-to-day life being kind and compassionate. Even to the people that are the worst to you. Listen, my goal in life is to be the person who doesn't punch back no matter what they throw at me. Okay? My goal in life personally is to be the person who stays regulated and sane while being tortured. Because for all of my life, I wasn't. I was miserable. I was suicidal. I was like feeling that pressure from everybody around me because I was in that bubble. And then I realized it didn't have to be anymore. I could make my own bubble. You can make your own bubble. Like, I want to be the person who doesn't punch back. Now, that is separate from self-defense and having those situations where you got to you got to defend yourself. That's different. I'm talking about in situations like this, at a family gathering, at a dinner table, in the mall, when you're talking on the street. I want to be the person who doesn't have to punch back by staying regulated, because I know my body is going to feel like something's wrong. Like, you're having a biological experience. Your brain is telling you, oh my God, you're in danger, you're in danger, you're in danger. Do something, do something. And then you double down and you act like it was all part of the plan. I guarantee you half this conversation we saw was never a part of that original woman's plan. the woman who was pro-choice, I guarantee you half the conversation she was having, she was feeling overwhelmed and confused because the way she was talking, I know she doesn't believe we should kill kids in foster care. And how fucked up of that woman in the blue dress to think she was being serious. Just like pro-lifers don't want to kill Palestinian kids, but they'll vote for a president who funds Israel. I don't think they want to kill Palestinian kids. I think they don't want to admit that they are contributing to it. Right? And kind of, to be fair, in the same way that pro-lifers feel about abortions, I wish pro-lifers would just say, like, yes, we're ending and terminating the life of the baby at a time where it's reasonable and for a good reason. And we should agree that sometimes this medical intervention makes sense. You know? We should be having honest conversations about being biological creatures, but because everyone believes in God and believes in all this magic stuff, we get confused about what's allowed and what's not allowed. Because we have this holy book by men written for men and about men, keeping us in a position where we never feel like we know the right choice because we refuse to do the research to figure it out. Chess says a lot of Israelis do, though. However, you're correct. However, a lot of Israelis do want to genocide Palestinians. Very bad. Very not good. Very bad. That's very bad. Okay? I think my heart goes out to humanity because we're so good at convincing ourselves that we're so smart. But man, the proof is in the pudding, guys. We are so smart, but we are so limited and we limit ourselves. This pro-life lady, she's dangerous. Do you know what's dangerous about pro-lifers like this, right? Anti-choicers like this? They will have the audacity to call you insane and crazy while telling you they just communed with the Lord Jesus Christ. Okay. Is he in the room with us right now? I know they're not literally psychotic. I know they're not literally hearing the voice of God. But the fact that we let them live their life pretending to be better than the rest of us, when God knows we could just be getting along. How cool would it be if the witch was like, yeah, bro, I just had a witchy moment. They're like, cool, bro, just talk to Jesus. Cool, bro. Yeah, bro, I think aliens are trying to contact me. Cool, dope. But instead it's like, no, the voice in my head is more reasonable than the voice in your head. There is no voice. None of us are hearing voices. We just have a belief that's so strong it comforts us at night when we're scared. Nobody's hearing voices. But the audacity of thinking that the feeling you're having, the warmth you're seeking at night when you're scared is the only way to do it. That's the issue. No one's hearing voices, but all of us are comforted at night thinking about the things that are greater and bigger than us that make us feel like we understand our place in the universe. If only we could all just chill and let everybody have their own version of comfort. But no, we have to sit there and tear it down and then use that belief system to literally take away people's civil rights. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. All right, girls. We did it. Wait, Chad says I kind of assumed they were hearing voices, but maybe I'm taking the I talk to God too literally. Okay, nobody's hearing voices unless they have a literal psychological issue. No religious people are literally hearing audible voices. It's a saying religious people use to say they're communing with Christ. Remember when Sneeko talked to Dr. K and he said, God told me? And Dr. K said, are you saying God told you in a voice? Are you saying you feel God? And he's like, no, I'm saying I feel God. Religious people, it's just a bubble difference, guys. Bubbles think they feel God, that God told them to do something. But most people are not hearing voices unless they're having a literal psychological issue. And then in that case, that's where mental care would come in, right? And if you're a modern religious people, you would take your family members to get medication. Because, you know, I grew up Catholic, but they still believe in schizophrenia. Huh? If a Catholic, like I've never met a Catholic that didn't believe in schizophrenia. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you know what? I'd never met a Catholic that didn't take their family members to the doctor when they said they were actually hearing the voice of Christ. Like we're all just hearing our own voices because we have, well, not everybody, but most of us have a monologue in our head. You know what I mean? They're just like, have you ever meditated? You're like, what am I going to eat today? You ever think, can you hear your own voice in your head? Like it's not audible, but like, can you think? If you can think, that's what they mean. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know what I mean? Okay, First of all, why are you guys coming to my chat and saying, I don't agree, don't assault someone for different views? Who here said she had the right to assault that woman? Nobody in my audience said it. Did anybody type that in chat? Not one of us said it was okay that she assaulted that woman. Right? So don't come in my chat and troll me, bros. I didn't say that. You didn't say that. Nobody in my chat said she had the right to assault that woman. I didn't even see one comment. So don't even try that, girl. Every single person said it wasn't right that she got assaulted. We just said we didn't feel bad about it. You can't make me feel bad. Okay? I just said I didn't feel bad about it. I have the right to reserve my compassion for people that I can suffer with. I can't suffer with this woman because I don't harass people. Okay? Do I think rapists should get killed in prison? No. Do I feel bad about it? No. I don't think they should be getting killed in prison, but I don't feel bad about it. Okay, you can't force me to feel bad for something I don't feel bad about. Okay, with peace and love. Okay, we did it, kids. What a note to end on. I'm going to get going. I have Love is Blind reunion coming up. I have BoJack Horseman coming up, right? I'm so excited for you guys to see it. I have a new show that I'll be recording and posting for you guys. And with that said, we did it. We covered the hard topics today. Tomorrow, we'll get into cults. Twin flames, a white man who looks like Jesus. Always be warned of the white men who look like Jesus. Always a red flag, always a red flag. If you guys are curious, you want to check out liveaction.com. This is the full interview of what we just watched. You guys can check them out, okay? I hope everybody goes home and meditates and does something different with their lives rather than accusing people of killing children on the street in a way that feels disingenuous. Because it is very different than protesters saying you're killing kids. You know, I feel like there is a different energy than a protester saying you're killing kids and a pro-lifer who's like, so like, you want to kill kids? Is that what I'm hearing? Oh, wait, so like you want to murder babies? Oh, so like, just so I'm hearing you correctly, you want to stab 5-year-olds? Because that's what she's doing. It's so disingenuous. It's so bad faith. These are the people you don't talk to. Okay? That is the girl. Chad says, is the reunion up today? I'm going to edit it right now. I was delayed this weekend, but I will update it. I'm going to edit it right now, girl. It's going to come up. BoJack Horseman by tomorrow morning. I'm so sorry for the delay, but it's coming, girl. Okay, I just reviewed the weddings. I posted that yesterday. Watch my podcast on Love on the Spectrum. Just came out yesterday. And yes, give me like 5 hours, hopefully, fingers crossed. And I will have the reunion up and ready to go, girl. Because, I was... Okay. Thank you for being here. Please like the stream before you go. It really does mean a lot. And thank you guys for the super chats today. That is very helpful. It is very helpful. I really do appreciate it. Okay, girlies. See you soon. See you tomorrow. Here's some Elvin on our way out tonight. Dun, dun, dun. Let me get you a link to Elvin's music. All right. Talk to you tomorrow. Can't wait.